Hello and welcome back to the Zodiac Trial. As you can see, we've been gathering the death cards for a while now. I guess we have a bit of time to recap, but as you can see, we only have two timelines left. The true ending, as well as the one where Mouse is required to be the betrayer. And we have finally given her a motivation now that she knows that she was a last-minute addition to this. She wasn't intended. I guess the main one here, her isn't sheep here. She seemed bit much more passive than the others, and indeed, it seems she's been trying to keep her head down after she had a much more rough life. And the moment trouble started catching her again, she immediately threw others under the bus where possible. Hard to believe she even if, depending on a mere piece of advice, she could turn against even the horse, the one she had been trusting the most the entire time. I must say the game's done a really good job so far of hiding which choices matter and which ones are just aesthetic. Likewise, they've made some interesting twists and turns here, such as, well, the fire here. After all... Oh, no, this is the wrong one, isn't it? No, this is a different timeline. Yeah, this is the correct one. This is the one where Rooster goes on a plan. And this is interesting because Rooster goes for revenge against Ox, but he's not the betrayer in this one. Rooster is the betrayer in the timeline where we are the betrayer. So whatever... So, yeah, the fact that he feels all those people ruin his life really is really awful. It really shows how even he comes off really dumb all the time, but he's actually a lot more clever than we realize. And of course, Monkey. Monkey is definitely one very trustworthy person, and yet he pushed people along purely to see what would happen. Sheer curiosity kept her going. I guess her final desire was to see what things went on. Yes, Snake. Ex-military and teacher of the... yeah, of the one behind all this. Both he and Monkey have the close know him personally, the closest of everyone, and of course this means we all... Even they confirm, yes, every single one of this seems very much like something he'd do. And yet, Snake was the one that warned us. There had to be two who must have been either in cahoots or something, because two people were playing chess during the time that everything should have already been put away, and he's a teacher here, so it's entirely possible he was the one who put them away to begin with. It couldn't be a coincidence. Ooh. Horse was... Oh yeah, these are two out of the same one, neat. But yeah, Horse was definitely one of the more intense ones. We knew who was behind it from the start. The issue was trying to get out alive. As I suspected, he is no stranger to letting himself... no stranger to causing injury to others, entirely because on orders. Perhaps he wasn't the hitman I thought he was, but he was pretty close. So, it's looking like he, in fact, may be the one responsible for all this. And yeah, like Snake said, it's clear he only thought of things in terms of what he could control. Like, he mentioned he considered Tiger and Dragon some of the bigger threats to him, which makes sense because while he could beat them in the fight the majority of the time, it's possible either could have potentially gotten the jump on him and won, and he probably saw that as a more likely situation than, say, Snake getting off a lucky shot during the cafeteria attack. Yeah, because if Snake gets off a lucky shot with a sniper rifle and takes him out, there's not much he can do about that. But I guess he seems unstoppable from our side of view, but but throughout the day I started thinking, what about it from Horse's point of view? Yeah, he attacked Dog the moment Dog gave him an opening, that makes sense. For Dragon, he openly admitted to her that it could have easily gone either way, and his mask action was basically a desperate attempt. He said it would end one way or another, which meant he knew if he was losing, there's no way Dragon would give him another shot. So, and even both in that and in the ambush again with Tiger, he could hear the others, but he was also just listening. He said and it makes sense, the school is completely abandoned aside from 12 people, and the majority of everyone is trying to stay quiet, to avoid being caught, so it's even more quiet than it might otherwise normally than the regular quiet otherwise is. So it makes sense he'd be listening for key things to learn if someone else is nearby. It's also good for tracking people, which is probably how he found us in that classroom. He's breathing or whatever. And of course, uh, And of course, thinking about it, it actually makes sense he was able to get the jump on us during the cafeteria, because when he went there to try and find us, he probably expected someone to be stationed outside each door, each person facing a direction. So when he saw they weren't doing that, that must have been how he figured, oh yeah, if they're not protecting what is obviously a giant pile of weapons, this can't possibly be a coincidence. Yeah, if there's a giant pile of weapons there, but no one is seemingly guarding it, that means they must be trying to get the jump on him, and so he has to find a way they couldn't have possibly thought of. Indeed, even if they had thought to check the ceiling that he might go through, that's the least likely place they'd been able to put any kind of resistance, because he'd have been able to look down and see them if they had attempted to fire upwards. Granted, that would warn them that he's coming, but it would also mean, that he'd know how thorough they were. Or even if he didn't, because he didn't even do that. He didn't check. He just fired through the vending machine to keep himself covered, which absolutely makes sense. Ah, yes, Bunny. Bunny is absolutely one of the reasons you can't have to be sure not to trust the person who seems nicest. While I can't begin to guess if his motives or not, it's pretty clear he tries. In some timelines, he acts nice to try and convince people to follow him despite knowing it's a bad thing just because, charisma. But I guess his charisma is just not enough because it doesn't work. Actually, thinking about it, pretty much every time I put him in charge of something, everything goes wrong. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, when I selected to have him act as a Snake's backup instead of me for the horse one, I figured that would be a quick timeline ender, simply because in every other timeline where he's given the floor, like the one with Tiger here, either he screws up and gets himself and/or others killed, or, like in Tiger's case, he disarms the opponent and then fires at them. Now, if you want to be charitable, you could say he's simply been corrupt because the police force has been pushing him more and more towards lethal when it's not necessary, but it's hard to say. It only goes so far. It's entirely, like I said, it's entirely possible his go with the flow and try to change things from there is genuine, but obviously that's not happening. I kind of see where Dog is coming from when he said he left the police force and that he knows no one from there was all that great. Not to say that I agree with Dog in a lot of things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can kind of see where he's coming from. Like having hope too much just leads you for disappointment. I can kind of get what he means, because overhyping yourself for something can easily lead to ruining. Like, to use a simple example, a lot of people get hyped at new game announcements only to find one's disappointing. I mean, I was one of the people really looking forward to We Happy Few, and I'm sure from checking the reviews and glitch compilations, you can probably tell how I feel about having been excited for that. But yeah, but he's pretty fatalistic, and the fact that he just genuinely doesn't seem to care what happens, even to himself. In fact, in one timeline, he just... Yeah, the one with the dragon here, he flat out doesn't care if everyone else... that he was genuinely condemning everyone. Thought maybe he just lost caring about everything, but it takes something else, because he gained nothing. Not even his watch and see what happens entertainment is gained from taking out Snake to ensure that Dragon's team won't survive either. Or that was entirely just to screw over them. Dragon's definitely a character that grew on... Speaking of which, Dragon's a character that definitely grew on me. Despite being foul-mouthed in some places, outright hates nasty, she does genuinely care for the people she sees as important to protect. That's why she did everything to protect her pack, and also why, even in the timeline where her dog attempts to kill a mouse after losing to her in the liar's dice, she instinctively attacks him because she knows... Because Mouse just doesn't deserve that. She knows that. She even ordered Mouse to run and then even though she knew she couldn't do anything. As soon as she went down, she knew that nothing could as soon as Horse defeated her in this timeline, she knew nothing. Mouse couldn't do anything to stop him, so just told her to prioritize escaping over her own safety because she's already lost. So yeah, we definitely know Dog is one of the more questionable people here. And I think Monkey's the other one since she seems to have pulled a Harley Quinn from Batman. That is, she seems to have gotten curious and intrigued by the person she was supposed to be reforming, which by extension means she wouldn't mind working together. So if these two were the ones playing chess there. Now, would Dog play chess? I don't know. It does seem like he has a mastery of almost any game, though. What? And of course, the games they said on the tablet there were explicitly stated to be simple games, nothing complex. So sadly, you can't, which makes sense. You can't have something like Yu-Gi-Oh where they'd have to take like an afternoon to explain the rules. But I guess chess should theoretically count as a simple game since it's absolutely the poster child for easy to learn, difficult to master. Ah, yes, Pig. Now, she's the one I thought a bit about afterwards, because even though I chose to fulfill her last request, I was questioning it even after I made it, and even throughout the day after. Now, first of all, it was interesting that if forced to act, she actually can get a lot done with enough prep time, which does make sense. And so, pigs are actually very smart animals, you do not want to underestimate them. And I'm guessing that's part of the reason she was assigned that role. But yeah, despite being someone who's cowardly and doesn't do much for most of them, she's actually quite competent when her back is to the wall. And in one timeline, she doesn't even betray the others after everything that's gone on. She just decides to accept her fate, help the others win, and accepts her fate when it happens. So I guess if given sufficient motivation, even she knows is willing to take one for the team. I am still wondering, maybe it would be better to have the truth at any cost. There's definitely some value in that. The reason I hesitated was because I thought, well, maybe people would be distracted from the fact Brian, the Jade Emperor, needs to be the first and foremost villain. Because, while she's certainly not innocent in that timeline, absolutely not. The fact of the matter is, most people normally won't be taking any actions like that unless absolutely forced. And it goes without saying, but Brian absolutely did have a weapon to everyone's heads here, or perhaps rather their necks. Snake was definitely one of the more interesting ones as far as learning about Ode as a character, because he's definitely one more complex. I don't know how I forgot to mention that, but yeah, he's definitely. I tried to hang out with him where possible for a bit because he definitely has had some of the more interesting revelations. Tiger's timeline was really intense. I did like it, but like I said, felt like it really did was just, well, make me learn never to allow a bunny to have any control of any situation. I guess I kind of got the hint of that when he tried to use charisma to screw others over, while still getting away with it after he was exposed in the him and Dog's timeline here, but that's not what happened. But, well, it's rather, I guess I was more focused on how Dog was perfectly fine screwing over everyone else, even though he had absolutely no desire to get out alive himself. Because remember, he had the defeated personality. He had to get in last in order to survive, and yet he was perfectly fine pretending to be the winner personality yeah. So if he won, everyone else would have died. Now, Ox is an interesting one. We do get some hints that his ego is talking and make him feel like he's a lot more important than he really is. I don't think he's intentionally lying or trying to screw everyone, but I think he's been a puppet without even realizing it, just because he wants to convince himself he's that good at his job. I guess in that way, it's kind of easy to see why felt like he was just so, not why it's so frustrating to see him so nonchalant about it, the whole situation. Oh yeah, this was the game one, And there's nothing here, actually. Interesting. Well, usually these all have a picture, variously filters or distortions of the people involved with it. And since the main timeline we know is where Ox and Sheep are the traders, that explains why they have these other timelines. Likewise, I imagine the one where we play Mouse the Trader is only going to focus on her. And I imagine we're going to learn she's not quite as innocent as she keeps insisting she is, because the people here, as we've seen, have not particularly been pleasant people. Well, only a couple have really been there's only a couple that could be considered, or perhaps questionable, well, even according to Jade Emperor, which, you know, kind of, in a way, almost makes it worse, because that means he knows the reason for having there is a little flimsy, but he was just that dedicated to his theme, I guess. Or perhaps he still sees them as sufficiently guilty. Either way, it doesn't matter. Well, for now... I think that's about everyone. And Tiger was wasn't too complicated, but even her story had a decent amount to it. Like I said, everyone, absolutely, I like every single one of these characters. They're all very well defined, they each stand out in their own way while not feeling too simple or straightforward. They all have a lot of nuance to them, even ones where I could more or less guess the situation. Like, I think I was mostly accurate for a horse, but... at the same time, I guess it's not like he hit what he was like or anything. But yeah, still like all of them, so it's rather interesting to see all this go through. Ah, but we must continue here. Well, first things first, we're going to make a quick recap here. Oh, but then a thought crossed my mind. Perhaps refer to another important date, October 10th. Huh. I think it means October 11th, because 10/11. October is the 10th month, because this is doing it in the American way of month first and day afterwards. That's 10/11. I put the date Amadeus Bowen was murdered. On second thought, that's when all this really started. Right, Brian? As if to answer my question, the computer unlocked. Yes. Now I can use it to contact the authorities? No, it's disconnected from the internet. Figures. What was the deal with this computer then? Why leave it here? I found my answer in a folder as reason for jury duty. I opened it and found 12 reasons for jury duty. I opened it and found 12 PDFs with various names. Jamie, Manuel, Davis. Were these everyone here? But wait, then why I didn't see my own name anywhere? I found my answer in Richard Brill, the judge who'd passed away just over a week ago. I had read about his passing the other day. I bet he was the judge who ruled over the case against Brian's dad. That would make the most sense, which means was it possible as a last-minute replacement, that I wasn't supposed to be here. If that's the case, I don't even know if I'd be even less or even more angry. What's with the rest of these? Out of curiosity, I picked one. Davis. Davis Caven. Opening the PDF, I saw a mix of pictures, documents, and text. Took a bit before I realized this amounted to. It appeared a loose connection of evidence highlighting corruption in the prosecutor's office at large, with many incidents connected to a specific person. Specifically, Ox. I could tell based on the picture. So this mean Ox was a crooked prosecutor? Nothing in this document would be conclusive, but laid out like this, it made a compelling case. Oh, don't be stupid. Conspiracy theories always sound convincing when all the evidence is gathered up in one place. Yeah, a lot of those make sense if you just look at the evidence and don't think through it too strongly. Yeah. So, I was looking at the work of a literal madman. He couldn't be trusted, none of this could be trusted. I turned off the computer to discuss. Nothing good would come out of reading Brian's reasons for kidnapping everyone. Even if they had done things in their past they weren't proud of, it didn't make any of this right. Yeah, an eye for an eye just leaves everyone blind. It'd be a waste of time I've tried to play to Brian's beat. Hey Mouse, you done over here? We should probably get back to the cafeteria. Admittedly, Ox's voice startled me a little. Actually, the fact that the date is wrong might be a bit of a problem here, because if you don't, you have to go through Sheep's storyline again to get that it's actually October 11th. So that might actually be a bit of a... I don't mind typos, because a game like this likely has a document really, really long. Text. All the text in the game is likely absolutely massive, so I can understand there being typos here. I mean, I poked fun of Final Fantasy VII with Cloud being off course instead of course. The extra F there. However, being a JRPG, that game has a ton of dialogue, so I can understand typos, even more so in an indie game like this, but yeah, that date being wrong is a really big problem because... Well, actually, let me check again. Okay, so yeah, they do have 10, 11 there. Alright, we wasted time to play. Hey, Mouse, you done over there? We should probably get back to cafeteria. Admittedly, Ox's voice startled me. I was just really zoning out. Yeah, I'm good. Did you find anything? No, I don't think I did. A hint at most. Ox. Even though I was mostly dismissing Brian's conspiracy page, I can't completely dismiss. I trusted Ox somewhat since we woke up together. I think he'd actually been involved in something a lot more shady. The thought in some way might this whole be justified. It wasn't that good of a train of thought to follow. Moving on, you should put your actions, and then come join me. Alright, I will. With that, Ox moved out of the room. Sue's gone and pulled my tablet. Pig and Monkey is the one here because I want to go where we are the betrayers. Betrayers. So many. Stay silent. Here we go. Everyone quiet. If your personality is clever or dumb, please speak up right now. Obviously, no one's going to blame you. We just want to come to agreement. However, if you don't speak up, we'll not have a choice but to treat you as an enemy. Please, carefully how you want to proceed. Those words are plagued with silence. No one dared cough. Of course, the more I thought about it, the more I realized it was a correct choice. I didn't belong in this punishment game. I was a young girl with a promising life ahead of me. I had plenty of loved ones waiting for me, dreams to accomplish, and I'd never done anything wrong. Brian executed the others because of stupid rules. I wasn't committing murder, he was. If we want to get down to it, not making the correct choice because I'd felt guilt is stupid when doing the incorrect choice gets you killed. Confess and certainly die. Stay silent, survive, and I'd live with the guilt for the rest of my life, sure, but I'd be able to live with the rest of my life. Looking at it objectively, this is the right answer. Everyone actually remembers their personalities, right? I wouldn't be too odd for someone to forget such a seemingly useless detail. It's possible the dumb and clever personalities don't know it themselves. Actually, I'm not super sure about what mine is. I mean, I think I remember, but I'm not certain, you know? Maybe I should go check. I can tell you don't remember. Didn't happen long ago. But Dragon, what's the harm in letting people go check? Better safe than sorry, right? I think letting anyone retreat at this stage would be unwise. The flaws are twofold. First, it allows those secrets to hide, compose themselves. At the moment, they're likely still flustered and more likely to slip up. Additionally, letting them walk away and think will give them time for justification. Come on, Snake. I like to think most people here are fairly moral people. I just try to keep my voice straight. You expect one person in the group to output the group over themselves. I think the fact nobody's confessed suggests some people might have simply forgotten. Hell, I'm not even sure what mine was. It takes 0 effort to let people check, you know? And I suppose we could allow it. Also note that this is the only timeline where Mouse says that, and any other time she remains quiet after her Snake speaks and someone else comes out. Who made you act? Dictate. Last I checked, we're all adults with rights. Fine, do what you want. Okay, then let's be sure. Let us split up and check our personalities. I want people with dumb and clever personalities to think carefully what the right thing to do is. This is your last chance to be on our side. You don't have any excuses after this. Sorry, Oct, but it's too late for that. I'm already not on your side. Everyone split up, making their way to separate classrooms. Standing in the classroom, I closed my eyes. Last chance, me. Do I really want to be the sinner? Wrong question. Do I really want to be a corpse? Because the sinners are around me. Think about my mom. Think about my friends. My plans for the future. Could I throw all that away for a clear conscience? I couldn't. No one could. In that lonely room, I reaffirmed my determination. I wouldn't die here. I was surrounded by enemies. People wanted me to die, but I wouldn't succumb. I would fight. Yeah, exactly what Snake said made sense. Has come to pass. We've justified being the villain to ourselves. I remember my personality, but just in case I checked it. Oddly enough, I noticed something. The word clever was now written in green text. I guess to signify my new role. Not like it mattered. I made my way to the others. It's time. Filled with determination to live. I looked around the room, stared into all their eyes. Everyone was an enemy. It's not strictly true. The person with a dumb personality would theoretically be willing to work with me. The fact that I haven't spoken up means they're thinking the same lines. But it only matters if I can contact them. As is, I have no idea who they are. We already know from the failed timeline where we confess and die that it is Rooster. I'm not sure if Rooster's going to be a competent ally or not, but at the same time, he did prove in that one timeline with the ritual that he actually can be clever and set up things if given enough prep time, so he just needs time to think it through and not act rashly, as there's no way to contact them unless... So, traitor's last chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Please confess for all our sakes. Forget it. This was pointless. Nobody would sacrifice themselves to the group. We don't know that. Then why are they speaking out? Or are you going to argue them for checking their tablet they still don't know the traitor? No, that's probably impossible. I'd imagine the tablet makes that clear now. Like the affected personalities glow green? Isn't green good? Why would it be glowing green? It's example, Pig. They could have a skull sign. Mouse, I think you're really giving away too much information there. Point is the traitors know who they are. They're not coming forwards. We have an advantage. An advantage? They don't know each other. So right now it's 10v1v1. We'd be in trouble if they could contact each other, but as of now, that's impossible. Mouse is right. Honestly, we don't need to adjust our plans much at all. Oh, I know why Mouse said that. The reason Mouse revealed the strange green effect is so that whoever has the dumb personality should have a similar effect on theirs. So he's hoping that the fact she let loose an information that an innocent person should not know would help them get in contact with her. Once we all have minor trinkets, we move as a group. It's impossible for me to break that up. So we should prioritize our search for the minor trinkets. People nodded and Ox talked, everyone agreed splitting up and came to research school. That's fine, the expected outcome and what I figured would happen. When people started splitting off, I made way to the kitchen and I waited. Now is the time to see if it happened. There were a lot of risks to this plan. The other traitor might not have the personality change the color. The other traitor might not have had enough trust to reach out to me. The other traitor might not have even noticed. But if they caught what I did there... Exactly. Yeah. The only problem is she's correct by saying that she made a big risk to herself because she revealed something she shouldn't know as an innocent person. This does mean if the other partner has something like similar, she'd know. They can hopefully contact her with her, but others... But yeah, the others are going to ask why she'd bring up that idea out of nowhere. And the fact that she suddenly brought that up out of nowhere could itself be suspicious. If I could just have one person, then somebody walked in. Ah, Mouse, I thought I saw you walking over here. Rooster, what are you doing here? Well, I saw what you did over there. I wanted you to know I caught it. Oh? The thing with the color? That thing only two of us should know. Right, just the two of us. You're the clever personality, aren't you? And you're dumb, right? Personality, right? We stared at each other a couple seconds with unease dying down. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I found the other damned soul. Unfortunately, it was Rooster, who wouldn't be the most useful. Still, just having one person on my side meant the world. So you've decided on what to do? It's not an easy choice, I'm afraid, but I'm on course to the stars. I'll become an icon people cheer for. I've decided long ago I'd fight for all it was worth to chase my dreams. I guess this is a natural conclusion of that resolve, but to let the others die? Would it be preferable for us to die? Look, the way I see it, Brian's put us in this horribly unfair game. He's the one who's responsible for what happened here. But now that we're in this situation, all we can do is play our best. If I didn't have this personality and someone else did, I wouldn't fault them for attempting to kill me. They will all play their best, and we should play our best. You're right. It's a tragic, barbaric, gruesome, but I don't plan on dying here. And if it means becoming a monster, I'm gonna fight my way out of this. Ooh, I love that. You're hitting me with some strong, tragic heroine vibes. You got a good aura around you. Rooster, please, not now. Tough crowd, huh? Alright, what's the plan? We've established that we're willing to kill survives. What's the next step? Well, with our abilities, I don't think we can disrupt Axe's plan naturally. We could look for a major trinket and turn the tables, but that's risky. We don't know what we'll find or when. That leaves actual murder. I thought as much. A tragedy, but the difference between carrying out such an act with our hands and through our actions is negligible. Anyways, think of the rules. We only need to kill out 2, right? What do you mean? If we kill 2 and then in the end everyone uses minor trinkets, 2 of us don't use them on the last turn. Only 8 people will die. You'll be in last, and that fulfills the conditions. Alright, so we have a plan. Just kill 2. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll work. Why? Someone else will probably point this possibility out, so no movement will be made until the group finds and confirms the traitors' identities. Additionally, I've been thinking about it. It seems very possible some major trinket could allow the group to verify or check someone's personalities. Wait, why would that be a thing? When you think about it, this is sort of a social deduction game. Social deduction game? Like Werewolf or Mafia. Oh, dang! I really wasn't off when I made those jokes. If Brian's taking inspiration from that, we would be the 2 hidden roles, and in those games, there's usually a way to verify someone's innocence or lack thereof. When viewed from that perspective, a major trinket would be the perfect way to facilitate something like that. It's a mechanic tied to the game that doesn't necessarily revolve around movement. If someone finds something like that, we're really screwed. After all, it's not like we can take on the whole group. Heck, they're individual members. I don't think we could take even 2v1. So from what I'm hearing, it sounds like we're gonna have to kill pretty much everyone by ourselves. I'm saying that would be our best strategic chance for survival. We have a chance to survive, right? Alright, so ask again, how do we get started? Let me think for a second. I paced for a couple seconds. I don't think about just like I'm murdering people. Think about it like I'm writing a murder mystery. If I was the culprit, what move would I want to make? It'd be best to put suspicion on someone else to begin with. If the group thought they caught a traitor, they'd likely imprison that person, which is like taking a piece for free. What sort of trick could I use? Anything too obvious, one of the sharper members will catch it. But if I counted on people's deductive skills... Okay, I know what we need to do. We're going to use a false disguise ruse. Ooh, we got some names going. I love it. That's the sort of winning energy we need. Please, that's the sort of winning energy we need. Please be less enthusiastic about our murder plot. For now, grab a weapon. A kitchen knife will be fine. Rooster complied and grabbed one. Good. This plan's gonna leave us 2 victims. Our first stage would be... Well, Snake would work the best. You know, I trust you for the thinky things. I'll be the talent. You say Snake needs to die, he'll die. I saw him in the cafeteria. He's actually pretty close. The 2 of us searched part of a hallway earlier. I think he's just making his way through here. Okay, that can work. I took a deep breath, another out. Turn off the fear switch, detach from the situation. There's no other option. We're forced in this game. You need to play it. Think about the alternative, the tightness in your throat, the pain in your chest, all the people you'll never see again. Death was too horrible for anyone to simply accept. Everyone should try to be as good a person they can, but allowing yourself to die is a price too great. No one could be reasonably expected to pay it. Everyone has the right to try and survive. It's your one and only, most precious life. Now, to keep my own existence, I have to cast out someone else's. Ah, Mouse, how goes it? Are you also searching the area? Yeah, actually, I think I found something, I'm not sure. You're stumped by one of Brian's riddles? I never said I was stumped. Just, you know, a second pair of eyes wouldn't work? Very well, I should have lent my aid. Where's the riddle? This way. I led Snake into the nearby art classroom. You found something in here? Yes. Odd, I searched this area and I didn't find anything. Oh, I guess you didn't search well enough? I guess I didn't. Looks like the riddle starts here. I walked over the nearby closet. I heard Snake fall behind me. When I reached, I put my hand on its handle, but I didn't open it. I just stopped and closed my eyes because I knew what was about to happen. Mouse, hey, what are you... I heard the sound of a knife finding its target, the sound of Snake collapsing to the nearby table, and the sound of life leaving Snake's body. I might have hallucinated the last bit, but it certainly felt audible. You can look now, it's over. I know, I don't want to. We're gonna have to at some point. I know, I'm just preparing myself. By doing what? Look, turn around in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Without thinking about it anymore, I turned around. Sure enough, the sight of him was far from pleasant. Snake had collapsed on the ground, blood pouring from his stomach. His eyes were wide open in a haunting manner. I definitely need some book more sessions with Monkey after all this. Well, with my new therapist, that is. One thing was for sure, I wouldn't be forgetting that image anytime soon. You're welcome, by the way. I don't recall thanking you. Well, you should. You're freaking out here, but I'm the one who had to stab the dude. You're right, this is bad for me, it must be traumatizing for you. Not really, huh? I mean, as an action hero, I've gunned down countless enemies of questionable morality. My fictional kill count must be 100 at this point. We think about it, this is also play of sorts and act. No different from any of those past kills. Really? Well, that's what I'm telling myself. Okay, so that's his coping mechanism. I fear that if I think about it anymore, I might break down, which would totally kill the bad boy image I'm trying to cultivate, so I won't. That's, fair. Anyways, with this, I've killed a person. No, you killed half a person. Dare I ask? Think about it. If you killed 2 people, your kill count would be 2. If you killed 1, that would be 1. However, if 2 people kill 1, each kills 1.5. After all, just... Okay, yeah. Rooster, that might be the dumbest thing you've said all day. Are you serious? I'm making complete sense right now. Think about it. Snake died once. No... Now, you're not going to argue that because you didn't physically do it, you're less culpable for me, right? No, that wouldn't be fair. Right, so we both did some murdering, and Snake has died. Only way Max works if we killed it 1 each. Otherwise, you're saying 1 + 1 = 1. That's not necessarily true. How else would you explain it? Well, what if you say Snake died twice? That way 1 once too. Oh, come on, Mouse, don't be absurd. What I said doesn't... How is what I said any more absurd than what you said? My argument used facts and reasoning. You're just saying numbers. Anyways, we don't have more steps in your plan, do we? Right. For now, let's move Snake's body to the closet. Wipe away the blood with napkins. You won't be able to wipe all of it, but that's intentional. On it, Chief. Rooster got to work the task. In the meantime, I just looked around. Then noticed the blood spatter got inside my jeans. Oh shit. There's only step 1. I was already getting incriminating evidence. I need to do something. Now. Alright, anything unnatural might bring unnecessary suspicion. It'd be best if the whole thing could be written off. It's a risk, but the stain was covered up publicly, like if a ground found paint can. Opened up, put it on the corner of the table. Icy veins, this will pay off later. I just need to pray I wasn't spotted before that. Over the closet, Rooster finished his task. Okay, now what? Alright, now I'm gonna need you to strip, Rooster. What? Mouse, you dirty bird, you. This is the plan, I swear. The plan involves you perving on a corpse? I mean, I get it, no judgment. Everyone's got their thing. This is not my thing, and if it was, there should be some judgment. Look what I'm saying? I'm thinking for the plan. We kill somebody a bit further down the hallway. Next, you go to the nearby empty. You witness Snake walking by the classroom and discover the body. Who just killed Snake? You'd be lying. Oh, right, I knew that. Could we call it acting? Sure, fine, if you must. You act like you saw Snake and mention he was wearing some rubber snake mask. You know, the one we all woke up with. Then we find Snake's body. At first, it doesn't make sense, but we find Snake's clothes, his mask discarded, stay in this room. Now, seeing this, what they assume? I know why I'm asking you this. The assumption would be that somebody killed Snake and then dressed him up on purpose to frame him. That would be a suspicion on people who could pull off Snake's disguise. Bunny and dogs primarily, though I imagine a few others might be floated. Okay. Wait, I couldn't also dress like Snake? Wouldn't I also be a suspect? No, you couldn't see yourself. What if they think I'm lying? If they solve the disguise mystery, they won't even think twice about your possible guilt. So long as them finding Snake in his clothes is natural enough, the idea that you planted evidence to corroborate story of you lied wouldn't even enter there. As long as them finding Snake in his clothes is natural, the idea that you planted evidence to corroborate a story of you being lied to wouldn't even enter their heads. In their eyes, you'd have been the mark, not the scammer. I see. Understanding Rooster began to strip Snake down. You can leave underwear on, by the way. I know, I'm not a pervert. I'm not you. Rooster. I kid. Actually, now I get why we're doing this. After all, every good lie stems from the truth. The trick is to tell 90% of it, then tweak right at the end. Rooster, you realize we're using this to create evidence, not help us lie better. Oh, I know. Anyways, the next natural question will be where to hide Snake's clothes. Behind the door. Theoretically, if committing murder, the killer would be in a rush to clean out disguise. Assuming the killer was rushed, they wouldn't have a great hiding spot. So just behind the door would be good enough. Sounds good to me. Here's clothes and a mask. Rooster handed the bundle to me. You can give me the kitchen knife as well. They'd have discarded the weapon here, likely. Alright. He also handed over the bloody knife. I took the bundle and put it right by the door. That should do it. Excellent. Crime scene successfully forged. Next up is victim number 2. Grab some random heavy statue. Here's the murder. Okay, looked around, found a suited weapon. Head down the hallway, saw a staircase. I'll look for somebody else and lure them here. You handle the bloody business. On it, I'll be waiting in ambush. Godspeed. Feels wrong to say that in this context, but the sentiment's appreciated. With that, we split up. I wanted the first floor for suitable prey. I found a target, sheep. Poor sheep. She seems so innocent. Operative words, seemed. Everyone was brought here for a reason. Still, I couldn't help but feel the fire of guilt grow, intensity, and lying. She was awfully gullible. Getting her to follow me to the designated spot took almost no effort at all. I lowered there and raised a gun in the staircase. Thud. Once again, Rooster didn't hesitate. With one solid swing. I didn't watch. It was pretty obvious what happened. Ugh, that felt dirty. It had to be done. Oh, I know, but I didn't like that one bit. Killing an old creep like Snake, I can work with that. Killing a pure soul like Sheep? That's like a month of nightmares at least. She's not a pure soul. Oh, but she was. I could see her eyes and her beautiful hair. Okay, whatever you say. Just please don't turn to a creep on me. What's creepy about giving some girl compliments? Give me a girl you just murdered compliments? See your point. Praise withdrawn. Anyways, we're now at 1 kill each, so that's something. We're not going back to that. We need to focus on preparing. What else is there to do? We'll only need to decide on some things. First of all, just be clear, you know your story, right? Yep, I got it. What's the story? Searching the classroom, finding a trinket. Second, please out the brags. They're just gonna invite suspicion. Okay, sheesh. I'm doing it average at searching the classroom when I see Snake walk by. Yeah, that's the story, right? Are you sure it's Snake? Yeah, I'm sure. No, you're not. He's wearing his mask, right? Oh, right, I should mention that. Honestly, forgetting for a second that we'll probably be in character. Just remember to say that at some point. I'm thinking of getting you a witness. It seems more believable. A witness? Right, you get somebody to search the classroom with you. You'll be the only one to see Snake, of course. We have somebody around when you see it. Should make it more believable. Oh, then we should do it. Bringing in somebody else like that is risky. We can't control their behavior and might end up causing trouble. Oh, then we shouldn't do it. Still, if it worked out, it would do wonders for believability. I'm confused. Should we or shouldn't we? Rooster, I'm saying there's risks with doing it and risks with not. Okay, I'm telling you as a thinky one, which is our best option. A witness will help a lot. Great. But that brings up a new problem. If somebody's with you, they need a natural reason to go check out the crime scene. Couldn't I say I want to go check out what Snake was doing? Maybe, but I don't know how believable that would be. It would be best for us if you heard a noise that drew the two of you out there, like a crash or something. That'd be great. If it sounded like murder, give an alibi, solidifying the story. Sure, that'd make a sound. I'd probably have to do it. I could push Sheep down the stairs. That'd likely do it, but what's the hesitation? If I just came after I could so far from the crime scene, I'd probably end up being in close proximity, and thus would wind up a suspect. Oh, come on. I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I mean, with the actual murder, the star testimony and whatnot, you should get your feet wet with old murder plot waters. It'll be fun. Rooster, be serious. It's too risky for me to be caught near the scene. I trust you to make up some good reason for why you'd leave the classroom. Fine. If I want to do all the work, I can probably work something out. That's what I like to hear. So we're decided. It appears we are. The dire cast, so to speak. We'll see if we have a winning role. And just like that, we put the plan to action. Rooster, for his part, went to look for someone to search. Meanwhile, a search area far away from the body could be found. Soon enough, I heard a commotion began to arise. Rooster had drawn the group's attention toward the body. I joined in, stood by the newly discovered body. Everyone panicked in a very sad death. Horse in particular looked like he was barely holding his rage in. Very troubling and very tragic. To most people. For my part, I tried to play the part of a grieving, scared girl. Rooster volunteered the story we concocted, and Pig, for her part, verified what she could. Ox listened in with a very focused look on his face. He was in full investigative mode. So Snake walks towards this direction. A bit body show up, and he's not even around. Where could he be? Well, fairness, it's not like we have everybody. There's still a few people in the further areas still investigating, blissfully unaware. Should we try and go get them? We will in a bit. For now, let's not try to crowd too many people around the scene. We can lead to issues. Rooster, you were with Pig at the time this happened? Yes, sir. We're looking together. Yeah, Rooster was with me when he saw Snake, although I didn't see him myself. What I don't understand is what made you go and check on him, Rooster. Call it primal instinct. Primal instinct? I have a nose for danger. I can smell blood. Just from the manner in which Snake walked, I knew, sure, he was up to something. I mean, wearing that mask and anything? Did you spell Cincher? During the interrogation, Ox walked over the body and leaned in closer. I want to keep my distance nearby. It appears that Sheep was struck from the side. She was likely just walking by. The assailant clunked with a statue nearby. You mean this thing? Doc looked over the statue and tried picking it up. Don't tamper with evidence. I'm investigating. This is what investigating looks like. Oh, really? I'm keen the insides. You're picking up right now. The statue is heavy. Fascinating. Anyways, there's not a lot to the crime. It's pretty open and shut. The killer just hit her over the head of the statue and fled. Unfortunately for us, there's a staircase near the scene of the crime, which means it could be easy for the killer to slip away without being spotted. Oh, but they were spotted, weren't they? Well, I think there's one mystery in everyone's minds, and what's that? Why aren't there Snake walk over the scene of the crime? A true enigma. Well, Rooster, I think we're all assuming it's because he's the killer. Oh, just because he happens to walk to a scene where there's a dead body, that he made the dead body? Yes. Bunny falling out into one of the oldest logical fallacies around. Causation does not equal correlation. There are many possible explanations for his movements. For example, well, maybe he was a vampire. Rooster. Hey, hold on, no, give it a second. Very creepy, ambiguously old, knew a lot of things he shouldn't know. I think he's got a vampire bingo going. He was lured to the scene by the sweet smell of blood, and it explains where he went. Where he heard people coming from, he simply turned to a cloud of fog as a vampire might. You know, if it was anyone other than Rooster saying this, I'd say he's giving the game away, but this is actually perfectly in character. Okay, I appreciate the thought, Rooster. The vampire angle might be possible to look at later. No, it isn't. It's stupid. Don't humor him. Rooster, could you please take this seriously? I am, or are you simply a non-believer? I beg of you. Shut up, I beg of you. I'm just saying, if we're dealing with vampires, we gotta be prepared for it. I'm not seeing a stake on any of you. Would a vampire have gray hair? I thought the whole deal was they were, eternally young. That doesn't prove anything. Snake could be dyeing his hair to make himself look older. Yeah, real wise and look. That raises the question, do carpets match the drapes? Good question. Bad question, worst question, the anti-question. You guys realize we're standing in front of a dead body, right? Allegedly dead. This is a perfectly logical investigation. It's a perfectly good investigation. It was fine. What happened? Honestly, the fact it's getting silly like this is a bit, well, honestly, it's probably for the best. If the game had absolutely no light moments, it would be a lot more dreary, but at least here, there's a nice mix. Even Zero Escape made sure to have a couple lighthearted moments to keep things from getting too dark. I have to admit, I was surprised. I had secretly been kind of worried Rooster wouldn't be able to hide what he'd done, but he's acting like normal. More so than myself, really. I guess he's a better actor than I gave him credit for. Actually, Rooster, there's something odd about your testimony. You never mentioned Snake was carrying the statue. Well, it's because I didn't see him carrying it. You didn't? In fairness, I only caught the back half, and even then, only from one side. It's heavy, but it's not a large statue. I guess he could have put holding it and I would have missed it. Very well, then does anyone know where the statue came from? There's an art room not far from here. I think it came from there. Alright, let's all investigate over there. And like that, the group headed toward the nearby art room. So what are we doing down here? Just look for anything out of place. The group spread out through the room. Someone needed to open the chest. If it took too long, Rooster's probably going to step in. However, lucky for us, Bunny opened himself without prompting. And when he did, out fell Snake's stripped corpse to the shock of everyone. It was the chance to get rid of the damn blood on my leg. I was surprised. I stumbled backwards and ended up hitting this table where I left a paint can. It spilled over my leg. To much of my chagrin, a number of people eyed the incident, but nobody said anything. There were much more pressing matters at hand. The room was once again in chaos at the discovery of another dead body. Yeah, I think using paint to cover it was a good idea, because as things are now, someone might not be paying attention to the other things at the moment, because remember, they didn't know that we did... Sheep's death was one that would not have caused blood on the pants, while here... Sheep's death was no longer an isolated incident, but the beginning of a pattern. Everyone should ask themselves, am I next? Most everyone here, at any rate. Before too long, though, the investigation began. And there goes our prime suspect, because of course we can't have an open and shut case. Life never gives out freebies like that, not when you're in a losing streak like this. I'm just confounded by the state of the corpse. I mean, why strip the man? Why indeed? Well, let's have fun. Have full. Now we could check that earlier question pretty easily. I thought I dropped that. What gave you that impression? Okay, correction. I had hoped we dropped it. It's clear he was stabbed to death. I mean, even I noticed that. There shouldn't be blood around here. There is on the floor over here. It's been wiped away, but poorly. With everyone focused on the immediate crime scene, there was no way they were going to find the last bundle of evidence they needed to solve it. I guess I'll handle it. Promised to wander over, look down, a bundle I grabbed and called out the others. Hey guys, look what I found. What is it? Looks like we now know where Snake's clothes are. And here's a snake mask, and the bloody kitchen knife. The knife definitely killed Snake. Mouse, would you follow on this? It was sitting behind that door. What, lying on the floor? Yeah, it wasn't hidden the best. Okay, but what could this mean? Like, why is that there? Rooster saw Snake walk over to where Sheep was found, right? If he killed Sheep, then who killed him? It couldn't have been anyone in this group. It has to be someone still missing. Or so you're suggesting this murder take place while we were gathered around Sheep's body. I think it's an assumption that Snake killed Sheep just because he showed up there. Or maybe he saw the murderer killing Sheep and then he was silenced. If that's the case, why would the crime scene be all the way over here? Dog's probably right. I have to imagine there couldn't be one person capable of this. Damn killer murdering Snake. That's interesting. Mouse, why do you think they killed Snake first? Interesting. How bad this could I be? But it's fine, I can cover anything fast. Plausible excuse. The weapons. I was thinking about the weapons. The kitchen knife came in the cafeteria and was in the victim in the art room. This statue goes to the art room, was the victim in the hallway. When you look at it from the perspective, the order of events is pretty obvious. The killer must have brought the knife to the room. Statue left the statue. The alternative is rather odd. I mean, the killer brought the statue in the art room, killed, left the statue, got a knife, then returned. Well, you're definitely making some assumptions there, but you're right, it would make more sense. Hey, am I the only one weirded out by the fact of killer some sort of dirty perv? I mean, we practically full of detectives. Is nobody gonna point out that? We're thinking about that, Rooster. We're just also stumped by it. It also doesn't have any purpose, at least none we can see. It's all bullshit, right? Rooster's story, as well as the evidence. The more I look at it, there's a load of bullshit. When you think about it, two people stand out as more suspicious than the others, Rooster and Mouse. Oh, I agree. Rooster, shut up. What are you talking about? Is it not obvious? There are a number of things I can point out. The fact that neither of you have an alibi. How do you just stumble on the paint can covering your leg? How the killer just left those clothes barely hidden? How Rooster saw Snake but not Pig? How Rooster just so happened to go and check what Snake was up to? But belabor the point is a waste of time. The bottom line is this is rather showy. Because everything can be very easily explained. Nobody knows Rooster. Given the tension, Bunny wasn't on guard to realize Rooster was growing. The tension on me, Rooster was going to start at everybody before they realized. It wasn't much of a head start, though only moments later everybody started chasing him. Everyone with one exception. Boris stayed in the room, locked eyes, he glared. Now, I don't know anything about. Before I could even finish, he grabbed my arm and pulled me closer. I don't know if he killed me there or I died some other time after. Getting away with murder isn't as easy as it's made out to be. The little things can end up getting you. Mishandle a murder, and you might find yourself going through a whole world of trouble just to tie up loose ends. Makes minor mistakes, sharp eyes will catch her. Alright, we're getting one there. Alright, the paint can is still the best idea, I think. And I know we can duck the evidence in the paint can if it's a killer. And if I didn't want to be found, and there's a bunch of paint cans around here. Sounds good to me. Here, close the mask. Knife as well. They would have discarded the weapon here, obviously. I took out the bundle, opened up a paint can, submerged stuff so it was out of sight. That should do it. Excellent. Crime scene forged. He does call out the fact that Rooster saw it, but Pig didn't. However, if he's alone, then there's no one to corroborate it. We'll go with bringing in anyone extra will just make things needlessly complicated. The story's good enough on its own. Any additional aspects will increase the chance of something going horrible. Alright, I guess it's just up to me to carry a brilliant story. Alright. You walk out and then found the body. After that, you can gather as much people as possible on it, and you'll be far away from all this. Alright, here as we are. They are cast. Let's see if we can winning roll. Just like that, we put the plan to action. Rooster's first part would be discovering the body. Meanwhile, is in an area far from the body could be found. To most people. Alright. Rooster, the only one who can verify it? I think calling a story is a bit too much credit. Memory would be more accurate, though I admit my narration added a lot. You're the only one who can verify this. Yeah, I was searching alone when it happened. Done the interrogation, walked over the body and leaned in to look closer. Wanting to keep my distance, just stood nearby. It appears sheep was struck on the side. Alright, where things differ. I harmlessly wandered over a camping and looked close at it. Then I bent down, put my hands. Hey guys, look what I found. What is it? I'm not sure. Let's get the paint off. Wiped out as much evidence as I could. Looks like we now know where his clothes are and his snake mask. And here's a kitchen knife. Mouse, where'd you find the skin? It was in this paint can. How'd you even notice it? Something sticking out caught my attention. Okay then. Oh yeah, that's the paint can is a bit too obvious. Alright. Paint can is too obvious. That is, it was too well hidden. There's no way we could have seen it by accident. He won't buy that we could have seen it by accident. Put it behind the door is just fine because it wasn't hidden very well. So it would make sense that no witnesses. What points the snake being killed first? Weapons used. Rooster and Mouse. Oh, I agree. Rooster, shut up. What are you talking about? Isn't it obvious? There are a number of things I can point out. The fact that neither of you have any alibi. Just stumbled on the paint can there, covering your leg. Like how the killer just left those clothes on the ground, barely hidden at all. Rooster was the only one to see Snake. Deliver one was a waste of time. Bottom line is rather showy. Alright, I need to figure out more details here. Rolling it up just means it can be rolled down later. I was only blood, it should come off right, like from near the sink. I went over, putting my leg and tried to wash off, using a lot of water. I got most of it off, but good place. Well, that's better at any rate. I have to do for the closet. Rooster finishes tasks. Okay, now what? We need something they're likely to find, but something to be a good hiding spot for a rushed killer. I guess the closet works fine. I mean, if I was the killer, probably good enough to pinch. Sounds good to me. Here's closing the mask. Give me the kitchen knife as well. They would have discarded the weapon here likely. Alright. Else handle the blade knife. moment, Ox looked at my leg and looked over at me. What's that on your leg? Oh, this? I spilled water on myself. You spilled water on yourself. Yeah, some weird puzzles. Little science lab. I can show you if you like. No need. And hey, did you notice the body? It appears sheep was struck from the side. You mean this thing? Alright. I almost wandered over the cabin and started opening them one by one. Found a bundle I had left, so I grabbed it. Hey, look what I found. What is it? Looks like we now know where his clothes are. Front killed snake. Mouse, where'd you find this again? I was trying to be helpful, so I was looking at the scene. Open cabinets, and there's stuff in one of them. Oh, gotcha. Good work. Oh, what could this mean? Like, why is it there? Rooster saw Snake run wherever his sheep was found, right? If he killed sheep, who killed him? Couldn't have been anyone in this group. Well, you're definitely making some assumptions. You're right. Hey, I'm the one weirded about the fact that killers some sort of very protective detectives. No point out what that means. We're thinking about. We're just stumped. It doesn't have any purpose. It's all bullshit, right? Rooster's story is well the evidence. I think about it, two people stand out as more suspicious. Ox, what are you talking about? It's not obvious. There are a number of things I could point out. In fact, neither of you have an alibi. You just happen to get water stain. But to belabor the point. Alright, we need to find out what combination does it here then. We've got a lot to do then. Yeah, the closet drawer seems the least suspicious. It'd decidedly not be. However, I don't see much choice in the matter. If it helps our odds, I say we do it. Great, we're decided. It appears we are. The die are cast. Let's see if we have the winning roll. Rooster for his part went to look for someone in his area. Meanwhile, I don't know if I heard Rooster and Pig searching. It was go time. I walked over Sheep's body, some hesitation, pushed down the stairs. I immediately headed back to the classroom further the hallway. After pausing a beat or two, I walked in after I already made a scene. From there, the entire group was called. Everyone panicked, very sad. We heard the crashing noise? Right, that's what drew us the scene. Okay, that all checks out. I didn't see him myself, but you heard the crashing noise a bit later. Right, that's what drew us the scene. Oh, right. While she doesn't see a snake going by, the fact that Mouse risked having the crashing noise meant that Pig did hear it, which does absolutely give Rooster an alibi. Okay, this all checks out. Done this interrogation, Ox walked over. I wait and keep my distance, it appears. Mouse, were you searching near my classroom? Yes, why? I think it curious. Hold on, you suspect me, are you? Oh, lay off her, horse. The statue's too heavy for a girl of her stature to use as an expected weapon. I mean, she could probably lift it and use if needed, but he's certainly been wieldy. She'd generally offer something like a knife. Besides, there's a staircase near the site of the crime, which means it'd be easy for the killer to slip away without being spotted. But they were spotted, weren't they? Well, I think there's one mystery. And what's that, Rooster? What are the snake or a true enigma? Alright, here we go. Well, you definitely have some symptoms, you're right. Hey, I'm the one weirded out with some sort of purpose. Is no one can point out? We're just stumped by it. It doesn't seem to have any purpose. No, I believe I figured it out. You have? Yes, think about how only one sequence of events makes a lick of sense. The only I think of is the fact that Rooster seeing Snake was not a mistake, but rather a function. Well, this is an interesting proposal. Do go on. Snake was indeed the first victim. Our killer murdered him using this kitchen knife, but that wasn't all. They were out for blood. Isn't it not obvious that our killer's likely one of the traitors? They planned to kill everyone and escape alone, so they came up with a plan. If they get people to think Snake was the murderer, then vanish Snake, we all have a common enemy. Snake would be the boogeyman, an unknown threat hiding somewhere in the school. They could blame all future killings on him. But to do that, they need to see Snake by the crime. They took Snake's mask, his clothes dressed up like him. I don't know exactly what happened next. Maybe they killed Sheep with a statue first, then just waited for a time they could be spotted walking into a crime. Maybe they really walked with the statue by Rooster, happened to see Sheep and clonked her there. Whatever the case, they set up Snake with a disguise. However, they'd have to join up the group as soon as possible to avoid suspicion, so when they doubled back the art classroom, they abandoned their disguise as fast as they could, then joined the rest of us. That's crazy, there's no way something like that could really happen, right? No, I think Ox might be right, it does line up when you think about it. In that case, I think that narrows specs down to, oh, we can? One of the people who could plausibly imitate Snake, there are only 3 in this building. Rooster is already accounted for by Pig, that leaves Dog and Bunny. The killer has to be one of you two. That's absurd, ridiculous. I mean, Ox, you're really grasping straws, don't you think? I think the theory makes sense. You do. By the way, I should have mentioned earlier, I have an alibi for the crime. What? You do? I thought searching alone might be a bad idea, so I tagged along with Horse, much to his annoyance. Horse, can you confirm this? Indeed. It's regrettable, but Dog cannot be the killer. Well, then I guess that leaves one person left. I knew Bunny was suspicious. I never trust that phony smile. Plastic man, the type to kill in cold blood. Hey, now, you can't be serious, right? That's absurd. You can't arrest someone on such flimsy reasoning. This isn't a court of law, Bunny. It's a death game where we need to make hard decisions. In my opinion, Ox is a rate of reasonable doubt you're the killer, so we can't just let that go. What should we do? I mean, if he's suspicious, we can't just kill him off this, right? I know, there's some jump rope in the gym. Why don't we just tie him to a chair and leave him in the cafeteria? That seems like a sensible enough arrangement. Sensible? That's not even remotely. Bunny began to back away. Before he could put any distance, Horse grabbed him. You'd not get to flee that easily. Oh, come on, Bunny. Why are you resisting if you got nothing to hide? You're right, you're totally right. Honestly, in high-tension situations like this, it's natural for people to reach incorrect conclusions. I can't say you're not making a mistake, but if the group thinks it's for the best, I'll be happy to be confirmed. Confined. Then settle, I'll go get the rope. Before we knew it, Bunny was indeed tied up in the chair left in the cafeteria. It was a funny sight if you forgot the circumstances. He certainly didn't look amused. Well, then I suppose we get back to it then. Alright, so yeah, I had to go with the drawers in the cabinet itself, so that it makes sense that Mouse would have been searching there. We have to make sure Mouse is near. Mouse has to risk being nearby to make a sound because Pig needs to be able to confirm something went on rather than just Rooster without Pig. And of course, we have to correctly identify how it only happened. Although I was able to get that right away, which does at least add some doubt of. Some suggestion the Mouse was trying to help rather than having been behind it. Alright, I suppose we should get back to it then. Yeah, we sure lost a bunch of time here. The others should have still been working, right? They can pick up our slack. Let's just plan to regroup and recount the minor trinkets in 2 rounds' time. Got it? Everyone nodded their heads in agreement, and like that, everyone split up and returned to searching for minor trinkets. Well, almost everybody. 2 only walked briefly from the cafeteria right before turning around and heading back to where they just were. Ah, Mouse, glad you're on the same wavelength. Indeed, when about as well expected. I give you credit, Mouse. They really took that story hook, line, and sinker. Worked like a charm. Ah, we got lucky. Things could have gone wrong so many different ways. Hold on, you 2 the killers? And the circle gets square. Nice work on picking up the context clues, buddy. Rooster, don't be a dick to him. We're doing all this because we have to. If you start to enjoy it, you'll really become irredeemable. Not for this guy. Trust me, I know his deal before we got abducted. I'm not gonna have any sympathy for this prick. Oh? Long story, not the time for it. Maybe we can get out of here. Sympathy? Hold on, you 2 aren't considering killing me, are you? Them's the breaks, Bunny. I'm sorry about this, but, you are tied up. It's as good opportunity as we're gonna get. Whoa, guys, think about this for a minute. Whichever one of you is clever, you can win with 2 other people, right? I'm useful, I'm a cop, I know how to deal with situations. If we can just consider a personal position, I'll join your side, honest. And you're gonna need someone with my skills if you want to take on someone like Horse or someone like Tiger. Just switch the dumb one and help me out. Well, Rooster, he makes a compelling argument. Maybe I should make him. Hey, are you serious? Don't be stupid. I'll just hand you over the group as soon as he gets free. Mouse, told me you're falling for this ease there. I was messing with you. Oh, right, I knew that. What do you mean you're messing with him? Mouse, you can trust me, I swear? I don't think I want to work with someone willing to sacrifice the entire group, if I'm honest. You're willing to sacrifice the entire group. Yeah, and I wouldn't want to work with me either. Alright, enough chit-chat. That people could walk in at any moment. Mouse, after you. What do you mean? You're killing him, right? Why would I? I already did. That's 2 for me and 0 for you. You should start pulling your weight. That makes no sense. Yeah, it doesn't. Since you're already used to killing, you should keep doing it. Even if I'm complicit, I want to go as long as I can. Oh, come on, it's a bunch of nonsense. It is. Oh, shut up, you. Turn to Bunny and kick Bunny in the shin. Anyways, Bunny's bound up right for you. He's a free kill, middle space in the bingo card. It's a perfect opportunity to be custom in case you need to do it later. Okay, how about rock, paper, scissors? Rock, paper, scissors? Fine, Bob. You know I'm a master. Oh, damn it. Paper never loses. Yeah, whatever. You're probably cheated or something, but fine, I'll do it. Rooster approached Bunny. Rooster, please, don't want to do this. His pleas were interrupted and Rooster wrapped his hands around Bunny's throat. I turned away. This is going to be pleasant. There was sounds of struggling and an awful choking noise. Then, after disturbing a long time, I didn't hear anything. You done yet? Yeah, I'm done, baby. You can look now. Sure enough, Bunny had gone limp. That's only 1.5 kills on my soul. Well, that was unpleasant. We should probably get out of here. Wouldn't want to be seen with the body. Hold on, Mouse. We're not going to leave things like this. Oh, for some reason, Rooster walked to the kitchen. He returned with another knife. What, are you going to desecrate the body? Seriously? Are you kidding me? I'm not some monster. Instead of Bunny's body, he cut the rope around him. What are you doing? Helping Bunny escape. Escape? Look, if Bunny's just here dead, he's another victim, but if he gets out of these ropes, he's still a suspect. Oh, I get you. That's oddly smart, Rooster. Oddly. I'm filled with great ideas. For instance, you know when to watch a TV show. Okay, less pitching, more murder cover-up, okay? Yes, ma'am. Rooster finished cutting off the ropes and freed Bunny's corpse. It took a bit of work, but we ended up dragging it to the nearby room. After that was dealt with, Rooster and I put some distance between us and the cafeteria, went to the hallway on the second. Hallway with 3 classrooms in a row. We entered the one furthest down the hall. It looks like just a normal classroom. Textbooks, chairs, desks, and the like. Plenty up, there was a number of Hot Wheels in a little bucket on the teacher's desk, but that was about as weird as it got. There were also some number of dioramas on the windowsills. Most looked like normal school projects. However, one jumped out at me. Huh, what's this? Zia body. Hey, this picture looks like a tiger. You're right. The project was done on tiger. Comparing the other projects, I realized this wasn't like the others. This was a clue, but not in the traditional sense. The diorama talked about an Olympian, but not her athletic abilities. Talked about the case of her dead mother, who fell over a body's balcony. The court case reached a verdict justified self-defense. However, there are other pictures and documents attached. One had taken a picture taken on a phone of some knife of a tiger shaking hands with someone in a suit. History of bank transactions. At the bottom, bold text, Brian written points out, conclusion, Zia body equals murderous client. The murderous part I can understand, context clues. What's throwing me off was the word client. Rooster, what do you make of this? Seems a little dark for a school project, don't you? Why do I bother? Still, Tiger's real scary looking all this. Not like she seems now. Yeah, I guess most people are hiding something like this. And you aren't? No, me being here is a total mistake. A mistake? Long story. Anyways, what about you? Do you know why you're here? What? No. Rooster, we're partners now. I've seen you do worse. Well, being honest, I have an inkling of an idea, but I'm pretty sure Brian's pissed my parents, not me. Your parents? I don't really gotta get into it. Why wouldn't you just kidnap them? That's not really an option anymore. Oh. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a saint or anything, but speaking totally honest, I don't think I did anything that would get Brian here. If anything, I think it would be more on his side than anything else. You know, it's ironic. If we were two of the most innocent people here, we were the ones that end up having to kill the two others. It would be. I wonder if that was intentional. Kill the others? At some point, Pig had walked in. She must have overheard some. Oh, that. Must not talking about online game. Online game? Yeah, we just realized we knew each other through the game. We were talking about guildmates. In silence, Rooster rushed over the pig and wrapped his hands around her throat. She tried shouting, and I couldn't have that, so I ran up to Rooster and covered her mouth. Rooster struggling while I covered her mouth. I couldn't be at the sight. I turned my head and pushed down. Eventually, the struggle died. Rooster and I stepped back. Pig lay on the floor. We were both having heavily. Sheesh, what shit timing, right? I didn't have time to shoot the shit with Rooster. This is an unplanned panic kill. The type people got caught for doing. Instantly, I peeked in the classroom to see if there's anyone around. I didn't see anyone but heard Dog's voice, having a one-sided conversation. He was getting closer. I leaned back and quickly filled Rooster in. Dog's coming. He's coming soon. He's company. We're screwed. Try to distract him. Got it. Without another word, I left the room and walked a couple steps forward. When Dog turned the corner, I was standing out of the classroom furthest from the one I was just in. Thank goodness, because he was with Horse. Seriously, what luck. One of the few people we couldn't deal with. If it was just Dog, we could have shut him up. What luck? Seriously, what shit luck? One of the few people we couldn't deal with. If it was just Dog, we could have shut him up by ourselves. But Horse, if he caught us, we'd be screwed. I need to stall. Hey Dog, Horse, I'm seeing you. What are you doing? Good to run into you, Mouse. Hard work at trinket hunting, right? That's it, at any rate, though I haven't had much luck yet. I feel that. Anyways, Horse and I are searching together. Actually, Pig was also searching, but she went up down this hallway. Did you happen to run into her? You have to be shitting me. I haven't seen her this way. That's odd, because this highway is a dead end. There's only clear classrooms. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Dog's eyes squinted, looking me up and down. He suspected me, wasn't he? Couldn't do anything suspicious at this juncture. If the two walk in the room with Pig's body, there's no way to weasel out of that. Horse would kill me, no question. Even if I could get away, Horse would report to the group, and I'd be really screwed. I don't think I'll look around for her, don't mind. I did mind. After you. I adjusted the classroom I stood beside, anything to keep out of the deadly classroom for a second more. Following my suggestion, Dog went in the classroom, Horse followed shortly after. I don't know what to do other than stay there, but stay in silence felt dirty, so I had talked and talked. Not about anything useful. Well, what I thought about the game, suspicions, Brian, where trinkets could be found, anything. Honestly, it was probably maybe more suspicious than less, but the main function was relieve my own stress. They didn't really engage at all. Horse stayed by the door, Dog searched all over the classroom. He looked in places that wouldn't make sense if Pig was alive, which meant he was on to me. After searching the classroom wordlessly, Dog walked down to the next classroom. Horse and I followed. Again, he looked around, nothing to find. After he searched, he left and went to the last classroom, the one Pig and Rooster were in. I didn't want to follow him, but Horse was right behind me. He was watching me. He was on guard. I'd be more suspicious not to do so, so I gulped and walked into the room. There, I didn't see anything. Rooster must have hid, but Dog would sniff them out. He looked around the room in all sorts of hiding spots, things like he'd already done. Again, he didn't find anything. Huh, I hid him. Hide my surprise. Dog didn't. At some point, I became openly suspicious, and yet seemingly my innocence was proven. So yeah, like I said a couple times, I don't think Pig's here. Well, I guess I must have read the room wrong. Sorry to waste your time. Pig must have made a wrong turn or something. And well, I guess I'll get back to looking around. Look after yourself, right? Will do. Alright, Horse, we're done here. Okay. Just like that, the two left. I watched as they walked down the hallway, not looking back. What happened? I was confused, to say the least. The only answer I could think of lay in the first classroom, and sure enough, Rooster was standing there with a grin. Ta-da! Rooster, what'd you do? I simply followed through your plan. My plan? Yeah, either of them classrooms in that order, and I kept talking like that. Listening in, at first I was confused, but then I realized what you were signaling me to do. First, I took 4 of the Hot Wheels cars and put them under 4 textbooks. I put Pig's body on the textbooks. Then I could roll around easy. Then the 3 of you entered the second. I made my move. Since they were afraid you might be a killer, Dog wanted Horse to stay with him at all times. Since they thought you were acting alone, they never thought about covering the hallway. I used the opportunity while they were in the second class to move Pig quickly from the third to the first. And since you were talking so much, the sound of Hot Wheels moving along the floor was covered up. Brilliant thinking. Oh, thanks. Good on you for breaking up my plan. Some of these plans I don't really figure out, like during that one timeline with Pig where they figure out the use of abilities to get everyone to the end without trinkets. I genuinely didn't realize that. Mouse just figured that out for me. Lucky for me. Hey, I might not be the smartest person around, but I can pick things up when you're putting them down. Anyways, what were you saying about this whole distraction? Tiger, yeah, she's a real issue. Best be get rid of big threats like her and Horse. The only question is how. Indeed. Suddenly, pensive music began to play. Oh, I just thought if we were having a brainstorm session, I would set the scene, so I set my MP3 player. Why do you have an MP3 player? I don't know, I had it on me when I got kidnapped, so I had me woke up. I didn't really have any functionality other than playing music. Why is an MP3 player in these days and age? Mouse, are you here to figure out how to murder an Olympian, or are you just here to be a judgy Jason? Because you can't hear for both. Okay, I didn't know it was a touchy subject. For the record, I find the music more distracting. Well, I like it. Okay then, at any rate, a head-on assault isn't going to work. She'll kick both our asses. However, she is trusting. Maybe if I bring her to classroom. I like it. I'm liking amateur with what? Use electric boogie. Hey, have you seen a laptop charger that's plugged in the wall? Yeah? Well, if you cut the end of it with the kitchen knife you grabbed earlier, you should be able to grab a section of exposed wire. If you plug that in the outlet, it could be a weapon to knock even Tiger out. Huh, unorthodox there. I like it. Let's give it a slap. Alright, let's go back to the third. Hide right by the door. I find Tiger and lure her over. You're prepared to jump out with the wire. On it, boss. Like that, we had our plan. My job, as usual, would be the lure, and it didn't take long to find Tiger. She was searching the auditorium on the floor. Convincing her to follow me was easy. She wasn't suspicious of me at all. Told her I needed help with something in the classroom, and she just followed. Brought her to the door. After you. Without a second, she walked in first. Walked right into Rooster's trap. But the moment she entered, Rooster ran at her, reaching the wire. However, wire isn't exactly a wieldy weapon. She had killer instincts. She wasn't able to dodge, instead went flying. Tiger immediately turned back, grabbed me by the throat. I guess she immediately put together I was with Rooster. No single hand she crushed inwards. Go send me to the ground. I only thought, well, good for her. Two of Hearts. On a quest to defeat the group, Mouse will inevitably put in conflict with those she cannot take out on strength alone. If she's smart enough, she can defeat them through other methods. If she isn't, her journey will end there. Kitchen knife, the one you've used Free Bunny, right? Well, we could lure her in and just stab. It's not complicated, but should work. Stabbing tends to be effective, I agree. Alright, got the knife, we should be good to go. Got her good right in the chest, however, that was when things started to go wrong. Turned to me and grabbed me. I guess she immediately figured I was with Rooster. Alright, so you need to just hide? What does that do? I need you to just hide. What? Just trust me, based on the rate this game's been going, I'm pretty sure this will work. You just need to be out of sight and this will work. I know what you intend, I'm intrigued. If this is what we're doing, then that's what we're doing. Alright, go to the third and find a great hiding place. I'll find Tiger and lure her. On it, boss. Like that, we had our plan. My job as usual would be the lure. It didn't take long to find Tiger. She was searching the auditorium on this floor. Convincing her to follow was easy enough. She wasn't suspicious. I told her I needed her help finding something in the class where she just followed. Brought her to the door. Alright, the issue's in here. Actually, the round's getting close to being over, isn't it? Hey, you're right. Before we start on that, we should input our moves on the tablets. Here, you can use this room. I'll use the one right beside it. Cool. And just like that, Tiger walked in the room without a single alarm being raised in her head. I waited, and as expected, I heard screams of agony. The Jade Emperor made it very clear. Using her tablet when someone else was in the same room was against the rules. Penalty, instant execution. We couldn't take out Tiger, but Brian could. I walked in and saw the results. Tiger laying face down, blood dripping from her neck. Rooster had gotten out of his hiding spot, looked down at the carnage with a bold look. Dang, Mouse, cold-blooded. How's that cold-blooded? We didn't even do anything. You're right. Still, you're good at this whole murder thing. Like, scarily so. I didn't give him any more response than that. Hey, what's this? Know something on body. Lean down and fish out a pistol. Sweet, a pistol. Huh, I wonder what Tiger's doing something like this. Didn't she have this on her the entire time? I guess so. I mean, there haven't really been any weapons lying around the school, at least not from what I've seen. But in that case, does that mean she had it on her before she was taken, perhaps? At any rate, this could be useful. Who should hold on to it? Give me a... Hey, why don't I get it? Because you can defend yourself and I can't. Ah, true. Ego stroked. Rooster gave up the gun without a second thought. What now? I think we should split up looking for minor trinkets a bit. Act normal, divert suspicion. After all, we've already taken out 5 people. That's halfway there. You're right, we should pace ourselves. Alrighty then, I'll check out the 3rd floor. You can go on the 1st floor. Got it. Oh, and like I told Tiger, the round really is almost up, so be sure to put your move. On it. Just like that, my one ally split up. I was on my own. Well, I couldn't dwell on that too much. It's not like there's any reason I'd be in danger. I wasn't a suspect of anything. There was no traitors coming after me. Yeah? In the classroom with only Tiger's head by, I looked at my tablet and pressed run. Then I left the room. Eventually, I made my way back to the cafeteria where I found Ox. He was inspecting the results of the rounds. He didn't look pleased. It's all going to shit. It is? I pretended to look at the screen. Oh, that green lights out. Great. At least nobody's gone off their own. I suppose. More concerningly, it looks like Bunny's escaped. Indeed, and it does appear to be the case. I wonder if this particular partner freed him. We should have taken precautions against that scenario. You think we're doomed? I certainly would hope not. Though I can't exactly face this situation with any sense of optimism. It's all that damn Brian's fault. How can he think any of this is okay? He's a child, a damaged, unwell child, but a child when it comes down to it. No, I'm inclined to blame Aaron Morris. Aaron? He's the one possessing Brian to do all this in his stead. If only that man had the sense to simply admit his guilt from the court, none of this would be happening. And why wouldn't he? We had him. It was over. He should have just confessed. I disagree. First off, he never presented with any sort of plea bargain, so there was no incentive to plead guilty. And if he did, that wouldn't prove anything either. Oh, is not even confession enough to determine the man's guilt? Oh, don't bullshit me, Ox. You're a prosecutor. You're the one who should know how that works. There's a reason 99% of convictions end in a plea bargain. Is there a reason not that it's 99 convictions are correct? Okay, and you're being obstinate now. It's called playing devil's advocate, Mouse. Better get used to it, because it's something lawyers are absolutely fond of. It's something lawyers are awfully fond of. Well, whatever you say. Anyways, not that you don't already know this, but the real reason plea bargains are so common is because of the risk-benefit analysis. From the prosecutor's side, if the case isn't airtight, the question becomes how harsh a bargain are we likely to get the defense to agree to. And from the defense's side, unless the case is a complete slam dunk, it's usually safer to take a reasonable deal rather than face the chance of a guilty verdict in court. After all, a good 10% of juries are so wonky that predicting what they'll do is a crapshoot. Rolling the dice on that when you're facing decades in jail is an option most can afford. The pressure's on the defense attorneys to push for plea deals as well. After all, the court has too many cases already, and they want to deal with them as efficiently as possible. Fight for an actual trial, and you'll be seen as an obstructionist in the eyes of the judge and prosecution. That sort of stigma can hurt, since you're generally working with the same group of people for years. And you know about this through your time spent in the courts? I know this because my father was once such obstructionist. I see. So he became a defense attorney to follow in his footsteps? No, I mean, not really. I became a defense attorney because I learned from him how messed up our system is, and I want to do my part to help it. Messed up? Are plea deals really that bad? They afford a risk-free solution to suspects that generally come with relatively few expenses. Maybe it looks that way from the outside, but for actual defendants, taking a plea deal is no small matter. For one, let's not downplay how horrible spending days, weeks, and etc. in actual prisons can actually be. It doesn't sound so bad because people can stay in jail for years, but at the very least, those jails are built for long-term residents. Holding cells are horrifying, I've seen it myself, and the court fees, even for a simple plea deal, are very ridiculous. For someone with a lower income, they're at a significant deal disadvantage. And there's a big thing about having a crime on your personal record. That can really stick, especially when it comes to seeking employment, and since you plead guilty, most people assume you really are. Plea deals suck. People only take them because the other option, going to trial, has a humongous risk if it goes poorly. I suppose you are correct, but that's the way it is. I remember Ox's file allegations. As a prosecutor, have you ever felt bad about some of the cases you've taken? Are you kidding me? Of course I do. Oh, then why take them on? Well, the whole point of our justice system is around both the prosecution and defense coming at a case with all they have. The truth will end up being whatever's in the middle, right? That's a non-answer and you know it. Look, the fact of the matter is, even if I do have reservations about any given case, if I don't press charges, if I don't press the hardest charges possible, I'll be kicked out and someone will take my place. It's a competitive field, and it's filled with people that skew towards having a strong inclination towards justice. And I mean the retributive type of justice. So vengeance. And that includes you? More of an inclination than you have, I guess. Mouse, all I do is my job, nothing more, nothing less. Everything's above the board. You do? I'd be very easy to replace. After all, I'm a trial prosecutor. My main job is taking all the information I'm giving and organizing in the most persuasive way the jury. If you're really so incensed about fair and punishments, I'd point you towards my boss. She even handles sentencing recommendations, which isn't even strictly her purview. Really? And that's just okay? Well, I've registered a formal complaint about it, if that'll even do anything. Anyway, we've gotten massively off track. We need to figure out what our next move is. Do we even have one? It feels like we've fallen to chaos. As far as I see it, I'm already a dead girl walking. That's an oddly pessimistic take from you. It's hard to really give up. There's something that must be done. Like what? Ox began to pace. Something about Snake and Sheep's murder. Something about it rubs me the wrong way. You think so? I thought we agreed Bunny was behind that, and he escaped, which theoretically should confirm it. Assuming he escaped. Huh? He's missing. That could mean the culprit or victim. I guess you're right. What's the alternative, though? If not Bunny, then who? You heard Rooster's testimony. Or do you think he was making that up? Is he secretly a real traitor? Is Pig his accomplice? No, I don't think that's right. I'm just confused. Maybe looking around Snake's crime scene again will help. Well, lead the way. I didn't feel great about Ox's current thought process, but I decided to humor him. It's not like he could find anything in the art room. There was no more evidence that led back to me, and if things went south, I had some insurance in my hip. Entering the room, a wave hit the pit of my stomach. I could see the murder happening. Look in Snake's eye. No, folks, that didn't happen. I know nothing about the murder here. I'm innocent. Ox's eye scanned the scene. Alright, so what are we looking for exactly? I don't know. We're looking for something we missed. That's gonna be hard. I get how there'd be a ton of evidence if we had, like, forensic science equipment. That way we could get a lot of information out of every nook and cranny here, but the way we are now, I don't know if the killer would leave anything obvious enough to notice. Perhaps. He walked over to Snake's clothes, still lying in a heap on the nearby table. I never gave these close inspection. Perhaps there's a clue there. By all means, let's check it out. Ox began searching through. I already noted the blood in the hole suggests that he was wearing this at the time of the crime, and he was stabbed through the gut in front. Probably someone he knew. Not that narrows it down. From this location, we could probably eliminate Horse, Tiger, and Pig as suspects. But again, that's not a huge suspect. That's not a huge suspect list. I wonder if there's anything in the pockets? I never thought to check on that. There shouldn't be anything incriminating, but I was curious what I'm gonna find. Let's see what we have here. Looks like a key. What's this doing here? Huh, you think that's part of the game? No, I don't think so. It's on a little loop. It's got a label that doesn't match the style of anything else. Master. A master key for something. I don't know. Oh, so he still had the master key for the school on him. That's how he was able to get access to the lockers that were meant to be locked. Because they weren't intended to be part of the game, but he got a bit special advantage because he had it on him at the time. Probably for his house, right? Yeah, probably. At any rate, I don't think this breakthrough evidence we were looking for. Agreed. He put the key down, then fished for something else out of his pocket. 2 color-coded markers, a red and a gray. Now what's this? Oh, what's that doing there? I'm not sure, but since those are art supplies, look around the room before spotting a set of markers. It's set over there. He must have grabbed them. That's just sitting on the table from where we wiped up blood stains. It's like after he got stabbed, he slumped over the table with the last strength he grabbed a hold. Ah, it's possible, it's possible. Judging by everything we know. He was probably trying to fight back. He didn't immediately know the stab was fatal, so he intended to fight back with more than a pair of markers. He planned to use markers. Doesn't seem like a more efficient plan. Surely there'd be something better he could have grabbed. And he was dying. I don't think I could fault him too much for his choice of weapon. If he meant to use it as a weapon, why shove it in his pocket? That's a good chance. No, I think there's another reason. I think it might be his dying message. I think he was dying. He wanted to help the group. He didn't have many options. On the table, there was a marker set. Thinking quickly, he grabbed 2 markers and shoved them. They weren't randomly chosen. Maybe some coded message. Maybe they're Snake's diamond. I'm inclined to agree with you, Mouse. Cliche as it might seem, that's the most likely possibility. In that case, what does the message say? Indeed, what could it mean? I can't imagine the message would be all that complex. After all, he was dying when he grabbed them. Whatever he meant to get across, it must have been something very simplistic. Maybe the colors are red and gray, right? Oftentimes in a murder mystery, the victim leaves their killer names or initials. So his initials are RG, or GR? I can't tell. So those are initials of killer name? Right. Seeing as how we don't know anyone's names, it'll be difficult to code. You can ask around. No, Mouse, you're not thinking. He also couldn't know anyone's name. How could he give someone's initials? Oh, huh. Maybe you knew the killer personally? We're all connected. I think there's a simple answer. The colors of the message. Snake's an artist. Naturally, he'd be on the lookout for colors. If anything, the message is in the colors, specifically red and gray. Something about those 2 colors holds in a hint. Yeah, that would be a reasonable assumption to make. Looking from this angle, we should think what the colors red and gray could mean. If I'm thinking about what those colors mean, this is a conclusion I could draw. Color of the pawns on the race board. Rooster. Witness is a red pawn, and your pawn's gray. That's right. So then... What's to say? Maybe it's a setup. I mean, think about it. The killer faking the dying message is one of the oldest tropes. He clearly already tried such attack by dressing Snake. Maybe he could resort to something like this? It's possible, I'll grant you, but if that's the case, wouldn't he have found them earlier? Or at least he would have tried to get someone from them. The fact that we found all this is pure happenstance, so I don't think it's unreasonable to assume. Oh, why wouldn't the killer remove the markers from the pocket? I mean, maybe they didn't realize it was a code or something. That was a principle. If some guy just took by stuffing something in their pocket, they'd get rid of it, right? Well, Master, that's assuming they saw it in their pocket at all. What do you mean? After murdering someone, anyone with a conscience is liable to try and avoid directly their work. Might not be logical, but only complete sociopaths are entirely logical in committing murder. Putting some markers in the pockets and action that could be completed fairly subtly. I think it's entirely possible Snake got the markers in the pocket discreetly. Thinking about some more, it makes sense there were 2 killers in a scene like this. Someone to lure him, someone to do the deal. Bunny Dog and Snake, we have to assume Rooster is making this up, and that's the case, it had to be working with someone else. Think about everyone's moving so far, the other traitor would have to be you. Suddenly Ox stopped speaking, instead his attention focused on the sudden jolt of pain. We had left a lot back to the scene, including the kitchen knife. I grabbed it and stabbed him. The feeling metal went through fresh. It was just like cutting any other type of meat. In a few seconds, Ox collapsed. Blood was pouring. It was clear I'd already landed the fatal blow. He had minutes to live, but no, even that was generous. Immediately collapsing. It was like a bowling ball. If I had bent slightly in any way, my head would plummet to the ground, and the rest would follow. I had murdered up someone myself. Up until now, I'd certainly been an accessory, but this was different. Ox, the person who got me through, was now dying, and because of me, I couldn't undo it. Not now. He was a bad person, corrupt. He deserved this. I was a good person. He wasn't. This was fine. Ox looked at me, jaunt look. He knew everything. I hope this works out for you. I really do, because I suspect it won't. And you can't take it back. Maybe I do deserve it. But Brian is the devil. He didn't just kill us. No, those of us who died got off easy. Because what he did to you, that's a face worse than death. He took your soul, and you're not getting it back. Well, it'd be a waste of all 12 of us who were ruined, so do your best to forget. Think of it as a bad dream. Maybe then Brian won't have completely won. Even in the end, I couldn't say a single word. I watched as the light slowly faded. I needed to at least do that much. I killed him, and I needed to see his death. Once he died, I felt nothing. There's just another one down. But then I felt a noise. Ah, there you are. Horse, what the hell's on your face? I don't have anything on my face. So you were the other one. Figures. Always look like conniving. Well, this is the end of the line. Trying to stall, want your partner? Too bad, they're already dead. How? How? Because I killed them all. Every one of them. Wait, what? Now for a full sweep. Horse began to stomp towards, pure bloodlust. If he saw me as a threat, I already would have been dead. Unfortunately for him, there was zero. One thing he had zero of expecting, the pistol I had. I never fired before, but it actually worked. He stopped in his tracks. Then step by step he continued towards. I fired shot after shot. He was like one of those zombies. He just wouldn't die. But eventually, finally, I dealt enough damage. He dropped to the floor, and that was it. If he was to be believed, I was the last one alive, the sole survivor. It was over. I couldn't describe what this emotion overtook me. I expected relief, maybe regret, but instead just hollowness. Oh, so this is how it went, huh? I could hardly muster the motion to celebrate, but I couldn't shut down. I heeded Ox's words to live my life to the fullest, so I snapped out of it and began searching school. Sure enough, I found corpse after corpse, even Rooster, my one comrade murdered. Well, what's one more victim? I collected everyone's tablets, operated them to move my pawn to the end of the board, and just like that, I crossed the finish line. The finish line has been crossed. The winner is Mouse. Congratulations. Anyone who has not won is lost. Prepare for execution, and like that, I felt the collar release. I heard it fall, and that was that. I was free. That's simple. I had won. Haha, look at me. Who would have guessed out of everyone here I'd be the one still alive? Well, that serves them right. They shouldn't have been such people that get them dragged into a death game. They shouldn't have been so dumb as to let a girl like me murder them all. Brian hadn't selected me randomly. He'd given me this role for a purpose. I was here to enact his justice, and I had done just that. I get it now, Brian. You're right. This game needed to happen. At first glance, it looked like you rigged the whole thing against me, but you wanted me to win. This is the outcome you wanted. I delivered this to you, so you're welcome. Come on, thank me, Avatar Justice. That's what's next. I shouted, but no one responded. He wouldn't say a word. He just left me in silence. The deafening, ear-blistering silence. I couldn't stand it, so I just created a noise. I had to laugh. I began to laugh. Why not? The situation was funny. It was a funny situation. My laughter echoed the empty halls. I laughed and laughed and laughed. Eventually, I stopped. Two of spades. If she puts her mind to it, Mouse can win as a traitor. However, that's a path that leads to complete destruction. Anyone who leaves a bloodbath stained in blood cannot be washed away. We're not looking for a total slaughterhouse. The less victims, the better. Sure, there should be a better way. Interesting. There's no death card? Let me check something here then, real before we move on to the final ending. Risk it. But, well, Snake's an older man. If you think about it, he'd probably be the easiest. Snake's fairly meek, so he should be a second. Think about it. Just a matter of murder from weakest to eventually strongest. That's a rather large leap to make. But it does make sense, perhaps, but I don't know if Snake would necessarily be easier. It's arguable at the very least. I don't think we could determine the crimes in all this time. Weirded by the fact our killer's some sort of dirty perv? How are you nearby? Ha. Okay, so I win no matter what. Alright, so I win the rock, paper, scissors no matter what. You can hold on to it. Really? Yeah, like I said, I don't want to do it. Sweet. Happy to have the gun, he pocketed it. So what now? I just need to distract him while Rooster did the rest of the dirty work for me. Entering the room, a wave hit the pit of my stomach. I could see the murder happening once more. No focus, that didn't happen. I know nothing. Something we missed. Ox began going to close. I already noticed the blood. Hey Mouse, did you? Oh, so it looks like you finally dealt with one of them by yourself. Okay, you need to set some time to yourself. I get it. I'm respecting your boundaries. No, I'm fine. What's the update? Well, good news, bad news. Bad news? Well, bad news for us. Just sort of bad news in general. Everyone else is dead. You killed all of them? Actually, Horse did most of the work, huh? I don't know what his deal was. He just started wandering around the halls, killing people, all while wearing some sort of skull mask. He looked like a complete psycho. His arms were literally caked in blood. Sheesh. Yeah, I think we might have broken him. Whoops. Anyways, I originally got her myself, but luckily I had an ace. He probably just played the pistol. Good thing I decided to hold on to, huh? Yeah, no kidding. So this means it's over? That's right, it's all over. I couldn't describe the emotions overtook me. I expected relief, maybe regret, but instead I just felt hollowness. So this is how it went, huh? I could hardly muster the motivation to celebrate. Rooster seemed to be doing that fine by himself, but I couldn't shut down. I hated Ox's words and lived my life to the fullest. After all, we gathered everyone tablets and used them with great effect. Finally, we made our last inputs. I would come in first, Rooster would be last. We would be set free. And with that, we successfully pulled it off. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about? Rooster, you realize the amount of forensic evidence we have behind, right? They'll know what we did. There was no way we wouldn't have repercussions. That's... shit, okay, once we leave, we'll find a bunch of gasoline and burn the whole place down. What? Think about it, nobody knows what's happening here, or else the building will be surrounded. If the whole place goes up in smoke, even the thorough investigation is going to struggle to prove anything. Murders, maybe, but they could show we burn everything down. Right, well, it's fine. You see, after everything, Brian threatened us with the callers. He ordered us to burn down the school, we'll be executed. But our callers have been undone once we leave. Says who? When they catch Brian, surely speak up. Who the police gonna believe? Perpetrator or the victims? Trust me, Mouse, everything's gonna work out fine. We won. I didn't know if I could agree with Rooster that everything was gonna work out just fine. But he's right about one thing. We had won, and because of that, I now have to live the rest of my life to the fullest for those we lost, no matter what it takes. Two of spades. If she puts her mind to it, Mouse can win as the traitor. However, that path leads to complete destruction. Anyone who leaves the bloodbath will be stained in blood that can't be washed away. We're not looking for a total slaughterhouse like this. The less victims, the better. There should be a better way. So yeah, basically the same ending. It's just whether or not Rooster's with you. I need a drink of water before we continue. Alright, that feels a lot better. Alright, here we go. Ox's name, Davis maybe? Alright, good. Okay, good. And then for the password. Alright, so, no capitalization. Tool, complicit, judge, killer. So he has to be either one of these four. He could be, depending on how Brian interprets it, he could be any one of these four, because he's the lead prosecutor and got him killed. He's not the judge, I guess we can take that one off. Complicit could be because he was used as a tool of the... Tool and complicit could work because he was helping the chief prosecutor, who were indeed the one trying to set him up. Yes, I got in. Okay, so he was a tool. Seen as a tool. Or the computer, I want the next one. I want the tiger avatar. Tiger's now. Vaguely named Zahara. Was that the name of one of the witnesses? Okay, good. I thought that might do it, however, they wouldn't budge. Alright, capitalization matters. Oh, wait. No, she's a killer, then. Because she killed her mother. Again, I was met with success. I was almost there. The last computer, one with Bunny profile. Was Bunny's name? Jerry. Okay, good. Thought that might do it. Oh, so he... Alright, so it seems he wasn't lying when he said he was just the fall guy for the person that was killed. However, that still doesn't improve my opinion of him, honey. Actually, pretty much everyone here except for a handful. Like, Rooster seemed to be there just to be for sake, just to cover for the fact his parents were there. They couldn't be taken in because they were already dead at the time. So I guess Brian figured Rooster was close enough. I'd done it. I remember the names of some of the people involved with the old case to guess and got through. Though the results were slightly concerning, more importantly, all the computers open. It was weird the fourth was already open, but there was still word left unused. Had someone used the computer already? Oh, that didn't matter. What mattered was I had 3 computer systems to check. Check all of them and found only one thing. Each was an open PNG file. The first had a 2, second had a 3, third had a 4. Combined with that 9, it was a code, but for what? As soon as I checked the file names, I figured out what it was. Put together, spelled pig minor trinket. This has been orthodox, but I got my hands on another minor trinket. Yes, my escapade had helped me more than progress of the group, but it wasn't alone finding trinkets. By the end of the 7th round, we had found 10. We were on a roll. However, at that point, we ran into a bit of a problem. So hold on a second. We spent the entire round, we couldn't find anything. That's bad, isn't it? We're starting to run out of time. It'd be an awful shame if we weren't able to find enough trinkets by the end. It would be, so why are you saying it like that? Like what? Whatever, I don't have time to deal with you. We've been rather methodical in our search, have we not? No one's been going over ground that's already been searched. If we continue to for trinkets in vain, it could become quite vexing. You're telling me you've already done a full tour of this place. What's next? Going back to before scene? How dreary. How have you all not been doing your job? How hard is it to find these things? Perhaps they've been found out or simply not shared. What are you talking about? We're currently under the assumption everyone's on the same page. However, it's possible. Oh, Cannon, would you snake? First of all, we only need one more trinket. I can use my ability to ride on one of you guys. I'm sure there have been places we haven't checked yet, so let's keep looking. I understand the concern. If mere 2 trinkets are out of reach, the entire enterprise falls apart. I'm not entirely convinced Brian forgot to label one of his minor trinkets. What are you talking about? Earlier, I found something in the library that has the same shape and build as a trinket, but there's nothing written on it. No code or anything. A blank trinket? Was there anything else notable? Not really. There was a written message that was odd. I've stolen blood from my kin. I didn't really get it, though. Stolen blood. A thought crossed my mind. Something that stuck out as a sore thumb was the fact that certain minor trinkets had certain numbers written in red. Hey, everyone, could we pull the minor trinkets right here? I want to try looking at the ones we have so far. Asking the group complied. There were 3 instances of a number in a sequence being read. Once on the first digit, once on the second, once on the fourth. It seemed too important to be coincidental. If the missing trinket had the red digit, that'd be 4 numbers, like 4-digit code. So I was supposed to take whatever number was written in the red and put that in the place of the original 12th. If that the case, we wouldn't be able to solve this trinket until we found the missing one. But that seemed oddly simplistic, and I felt there was some pattern with these numbers, something I couldn't put my finger on. I spent some time looking at the trinkets. Some of the others had already split off to look at the trinkets themselves, but I was on to something. Suddenly I realized the pattern I've been overlooking. All 4-digit codes, red were divisible by 9, every one of them. And every 4-digit code with a red number wasn't. So that meant perhaps the number wasn't a false number. The real number was to be the number... made the 4-digit code divisible by 9. The number would actually be 4. If my theory was correct, minor trinket Ox found should be 4. I found the other numbers. 5, huh? Now if only I had that last number. Wait, what's it talking about? If all those are divisible by 9, I'd solved it. I'd be to go to the 11th, maybe. Honestly, it was my deduction was off based on work. I had no assurance it'd actually work. Well, there's only one way of telling. The classroom looked at a tablet. I submitted it, was worried to be met with an error. However, it was the code had worked. Yes! I cheered audibly. What is it? Ox entered. You've been watching me in silence for some time now. I figured it out. Just put in the code for the 11th minor trinket. Well, good for you. It appears we'll be able to finish things next round thanks to you. Solid work. Ah, thanks. However, I must say, weren't you supposed to use your ability on one of us? What now? Oh, you can use yours. I'll move first, so you'll move 1 space after me. Then you can use the code I input in the next round and use my ability on you. Then we should get for the sword, right? Indeed, it should. And that we had a plan. After a brief celebration, we gathered everyone and told the good news. Needless to say, everyone was very enthused by the nightmares to be over. Let's go. Oh, thank goodness it'll finally be over. I must say, there wasn't much of a climax to the action. Tension kind of fizzled out. Well, thank God for that. Anyways, I suppose this speech was all using minor trinket, right? Correct. 2 more rounds and we're done. 2 more rounds, but it wasn't like they weren't anything to be worried about. There were no more obstacles in the way of group victory. People hung in the general area cafeteria, going to private rooms and put their actions at their leisure. Well, there's still some tension. People fall calmer than they had been before. I heard a number of people breaking conversations. I just don't get why my dog can't learn basic tricks. They're not hard at all. I could do them. Yeah, see, this is why cats are better. They're just chill. They don't do tricks. You just don't expect them to. Tiger, you've been using positive reinforcement when teaching your dog a trick? What's that? It's training the brain to connect positive stimuli with certain pattern of behavior. Pavlov made a great strides in this field. This is going to be boring, isn't it? I don't think so. So the answer is yes. Monkey frowned. I guess I just don't get it. Alan Morris did kill Amadeus Bowen, right? I thought that was proven. Of course he did. I proved that myself. There really isn't any way it could have gone. I investigated the suspects myself. You included, Mr. Rooster. To be honest, I thought it was his secretary at first. Good thing for her, the artist's testimony backed her up. So if that's all clear, why is this guy so clear? Sure, his dad was innocent. Delusion. The son couldn't recognize his nice father with an act of murder. His dad wasn't a bad person, so the bad people had to be elsewhere. Childish mindset through and through. Even if he killed old Amadeus, it doesn't make the man a bad person, though. I mean, there's something saying about ill dead people or whatever, but screw that dude. He sucked big time. Really. I don't know much about that. Really, I don't know much about that. All I know is the public certainly loved him. For once, Rooster's right. I actually certainly don't condone murder, but I don't exactly weep for Amadeus Bowen. After looking into the case, there were certainly bad stories about that man. Hey, Ox gets it. Dipshit refused to ever invest in funding any of my films. Artless crit. Well, that wasn't exactly what I was referring to, but whatever. For the most part, I kept to myself. I was just going over everything in my head, overwhelmed by it all. When the round ended, everybody moved 11 except for Ox, who moved 10. That was when one more cycle would settle things. We were finally reaching an end. Every time had passed, I had decided to go to a nearby classroom and input the code for my minor trinket. Finally, with this, the nightmare would be over. The last thing I needed to do is settle things once and for all. Use my ability on Ox, things were settled. However, before I could leave, voice cracked. Well, aren't you a happy mouse? Happy you were able to band together, finish things without any casualties? I imagine you aren't. You think so little of me. Mouse, you understand, this too was an outcome I intended to be possible. Granted, I did not think it likely. Still, it was always on the table. If you were truly innocent of heart, you would not be easily be swayed by my words. You would be calm, rational, work as a group, and evade the trap set for you. We did just that. Doesn't that prove you wrong? Prove that you're going all this trouble for nothing? Perhaps. However, I wonder how many times you would have had to fail before you could get a success like this. Had to fail? What does that mean? Had this outcome been the result of a cosmic dice roll, I was just wondering how many times God would have to roll these dice just to see something like this. Yeah, you had to at least have gotten Sheep's ending in order to get the information needed to get this particular ending, which means it is impossible to do this without getting at least one bad ending. You also need to do that ending in order to unlock the Mouse is the Traitor ending, which I actually think is very interesting. It's not often you get to play the bad guy in a death game like this, and I'm glad. I really appreciate the game giving the chance to do that. Sure, it's not ending on the most satisfying note, but that's kind of the point. I imagine quite a few times. More often than not, your sin would doom you. That's sounding like a lot of bullshit coming from a sore loser. I don't know how little you think of us, but I know for sure that no matter how many times you put us through this, we band together. If you say so. You can only act smug for so long, Brian. Soon enough we're gonna break out, and you're going to jail for a long time. Indeed, I imagine the police won't look too favorably on all this. My one regret is I won't land a punch in your face myself. You know, if you really want to, I will let you. For a second, my body froze. What do you mean? Outside the school, there's a football field. There's a small building right beside the fence. I've been using that as my base of operations. If you wish to come find me, that's where I'll be. And you're telling me this because? Think of it as a reward for perfect victory. Do I look dumb to you? This smells an obvious trap. No way I'm going in there by myself. Suit yourselves. Just thought you might like to know. Sheesh, even after his games failed, he found ways to piss me off. What do you think he was doing telling me his location? Doesn't make sense. Whatever, why bother thinking about it for too long? I strode out of the classroom. I had taken shelter in back of the cafeteria. There I continued to wait. As the round's deadline, more and more people took excursions, separate rooms, all presumably employing the code, bringing them victory. I didn't play too much, I was still busy fuming about Brian. However, something particular caught my eye. That something was Dragon angrily pulling Snake towards the very end of the round. I didn't look good. I knew it was my place, but I thought it strange, not to mention concerning. Conflict of any kind this late didn't sit well with me. I thought about falling after see see if I could resolve it. What to do? I really should stop any conflict of any kind before it gets out of hand. We were a delicate balance with lives. However, on the slightest chance, I didn't want it to be undone by people acting like children, so I followed Dragon Snake to the classroom. There, they were already at their seats. I knew I didn't like you the moment we worked together. Now I know that's the case. Dragon, please take a moment to discover consider how ridiculous you acting right now. First of all, I'm not even familiar with these scorpions in the first place. Hey, whoa, break it up, you two. What's going on? You stay out of this, Mouse. This is a business between Snake and myself. No, I don't think it is. There's the speaker's keep. I heard a sigh. You just had to intervene, didn't you, Mouse? Whatever, works well enough, I suppose. What's it supposed to mean? Instead of answering, I heard movements. One thing should be moving while my body was. And I never would again, because this is the last thing I'd ever feel. The absurd pain of knives, blackness surrounding me. I'd only be outraged, but for that to be the case, I have to be in a state where I could think straight enough to realize it wasn't fair. Alright, hello, welcome back to the Zodiac Trial. Unfortunately, it seems a complete outage is forcing me to record this offline. So unfortunately, we're not going to be getting my live reactions, but rest assured I should be editing this back together for the YouTube video. So if you're on YouTube and you wondered why the jump happened, it's because an issue forced me to do the rest of this offline. But we should still be... So I'm going to continue right where it looks like I left off. So intervene, I should really... Conflict of any kind. It's a delicate balance of the lives and balance, however. Slight the chance I don't want to be undone by people acting like children. But there are their throats. I knew I didn't like you for the moment we woke up together. Now at least I know why that's the case. Dragon, please, take a moment to consider how ridiculous you're acting. First of all, I'm not even familiar with these scorpions in the first place. Hey, whoa, break it up, you two. What else is going on? You stay out of it, Mouse. This business between Snake and myself. No, I don't think it is. Just in the speaker's room, I heard a sigh. You just had to intervene, didn't you, Mouse? Whatever, this works well enough, I suppose. What's that even supposed to mean? Instead of answering, I heard movements around my neck. Movements. The only thing that should be moving around my body was... It was excruciating. I never felt anything like it before. I never would again. The absurd pain. Blackness surrounding me as senses. The confusion was happening. I'd normally be outraged by the unfairness, but if that to be the case, I'd have to be in a state where I could think straight enough to realize it wasn't fair. Almost there. We're nearly there. However, Mouse's presence in the fight between Snake and Dragon will muddy things up. There's a better way to deal with her. Now, at that point, you'll probably notice something. Unfortunately, I was partway through the next part, so as you can see, I did the last part off stream, but came off stream because I didn't realize I had disconnected until it was too late. However, this is a very notable thing that he wanted to point out because it was present before. He said, "Deal with her." What I think about more was my place to intervene on every single petty squabble. They were both adults, they could work things out themselves. Best to let things play out naturally. So as the two walked down the hallway, I didn't pay them mind. However, as the minutes passed, I couldn't help but notice they hadn't yet returned. Even as everyone else was gathered around the TV, even as the round end announcement was playing, they weren't there. The hell? If I could think about it, the screen cut on. Here's the moment of truth. What should have been tense suddenly felt as such. Round 9 has ended. Let's see how the rest progressed. The rat has hitched a sneaky ride. The ox used minor trinket. Move the finish line. Thanks to sneaky ride, the rat also moves the finish line. Tiger used minor trinket. Dragon's failed input in action. The snake has failed input in action. Has anyone else failed? No. No, it seems like everyone else made it. Finish line's been crossed. The winners are everyone except for Snake and Dragon. Anyone who has not won is lost. Prepare for execution. What? What the hell was this? Didn't even register the fact that the collar around my neck had become unlocked. That couldn't possibly be right, could it? No, it wasn't possible. We'd won. We worked together and beaten Brian's game. So why? Why is it ending like this? Why do we still have 2 casualties? The others look similar and confused. What on earth? Hey, is there a mistake here or something? This isn't good. We should go check out the other 2. Monkey didn't finish her sentence. She didn't need to. We got the picture. Everyone, they went this way. I took the initiative leading the group where I knew they had gone. I hurriedly walked into a scene I didn't want to see. Unfortunately, as I appeared in the open classroom, my fears were confirmed. No! The others crowded around to see the executed bodies of Dragon and Snake. I didn't need to do a thorough check to know what had happened. The blood on the floor, around their necks, that painted the picture just fine. What? Why didn't they input their actions? Those guys. Damn it. They're seriously caught up in an argument they just know the time for the round? That's why I said we should put input our actions at the start of the round. That's what happened. That's a pretty dumb way to die. And believe me, I've seen a lot of dumb ways. Oh, the lava. Shut up, dog. Actually, I don't think that's what happened. Look, Dragon's gripping Snake's tablet and vice versa. So what are you saying? They got their tablets mixed up? There's no way. Each tablet has its respective animal drawn on its back very clear. Maybe they forgot what their animal looks like. A dragon's kind of like a snake when you think about it. Rooster, I do not believe jokes are appropriate this time. Right. And? Never mind. I don't think this is a simple mix-up. The 2 were arguing before, right? Maybe one deliberately operated the other's tablet to kill them. What? It's possible. If you wanted to kill someone, this would be prime time to do so. But both of them are dead. How'd explain that? Perhaps whoever was the killer lunged out and operated the other person's tablet as they were being executed. Is that even possible? I think so, especially the first one was someone vengeful like Dragon. All these words were blurring together. I'd stopped listening a while ago. Instead, I was just seething, hating. I was angry with Brian, furious with this bullshit game. I remember his smug voice when he told him he won. Did he expect something like this to happen? Did he instigate it? Regardless, truth of the matter, Brian now crossed the line. To kidnap us, to kill 2 of us, that's something else. But how to... I took off my collar. Hey, Mouse, where are you going? Mouse, wait up! I walked faster. Mouse? Not sure if this is the time for a dramatic exit. And let her do her thing. She probably needs to blow up some steam. Their voices were getting quieter. I was getting further from the classroom, close to the door in front of the building. Soon enough, I got the entrance, or rather the exit. I grabbed the doorknob and pulled. I expected it would be locked. However, to my surprise, I opened the door quite easily. I suppose the collars on her neck were the real deterrent from leaving the building. As I walked inside, I could once again feel the sun on my skin. I could breathe fresh air. I was free. I could run straight back home. That's what I'd normally be thinking. However, none of those thoughts crossed my mind. Instead, I had a single goal in mind. Now, where did Brian say he was? As I look around, sure enough, I saw a small building by the football field he was referring to. I strode towards it confidently. A punch? He thought he was only going to get a punch from me? He thought his sins were worth a punch. No, I was going to teach him how it felt to be choked out. I stormed the building with such frustration. However, as I actually stood by the door, I hesitated for a moment. Was I being stupid? Could I really confront the Jade Emperor? No, this wasn't Jade Emperor. It was some sick kid. Kid needed punishment. Time slowed down. I gripped the door handle. I began to open the door. I felt some weird resistance as it pulled open. What was this feeling? My eyes darted downward. Was that a wire inside the door crack? As I began to think out, blam. The news surrounding the incident that took place at... High school is still incoming as we get more information surrounding the incident. Truly, this appears to be a story of the year. News of the reported death game has been sweeping through the nation, as millions are eager to know exactly what happened. Luckily, it appears the mastermind behind the event has already passed away. Still, it is a true tragedy. The bodies of a local community leader and a respected teacher at the high school were found inside the premises, apparently executed by a crude mechanical device around their necks. Additionally, a young law student was caught in a fatal explosion, killed by a device rigged inside the operating the base of the mastermind. Police suspect the mastermind intended to die alongside whoever came to capture him in a final act of destruction. Indeed, the body of the master. Yeah, I don't think I can say that word on YouTube, unfortunately. Indeed, the body of the mastermind was found incinerated inside the base. Perhaps most shockingly, the mastermind had been identified as one Brian Morris, a senior at the very high school the incident took place at. The motive for such an act? The boy was purportedly vengeful for his father, who he considers wrongly executed. Indeed, the victims of the mass kidnapping incident all had some connection to another mysterious case from the years past. Many are skeptical as to such an absurd, complex act to be carried out by a single child. However, investigations of the matter highly support the idea Brian acted alone. Records of him manufacturing bizarre collars for the incident, as well as getting his hands on a variety of dangerous weapons, have been found. This has re-sparked a long-held debate in this nation regarding restricting access to such things. Additionally, proof Brian directly kidnapped at least 9 of the victims the night before has been found, with heavy circumstantial evidence remaining for the final 3. Notebooks owned by Brian show the frightening process in which he concocted the idea for a death game, as well as the various items he would hide, where he would hide them, and additional details. A thorough sweep of the high school reveals that most, if not all, the ideas Brian had were written down there, in fact present. These notes show that Brian was apparently conspiring a handful of other candidates for a sadistic game. The alternate candidates include Judge, responsible for handling the sentence of Alice Morse, Chief Police Priest Bowen, and Anna Red, an associate of the late Amadeus Bowen. The system used to operate this entire endeavor has been poured through. A frightening amount of forethought went into decoding the system which the death game ran. Analysis reveals the majority of the game was handled automatically, with plenty of voice scripts being pre-recorded. However, other aspects of the game were manually operated via a custom app the mastermind installed on a burner phone. With all this evidence combined with the testimonies of the surviving victims, police are currently concluding that Brian Morris acted alone in this unprecedented act. While the official investigation of this incident may be coming to a close, the public is still left with many questions. Early Ace of Spades, the perfect sequence of events. The only casualties are the necessary ones. Highly reliable path with minimal room for error. So, yeah. I think I mentioned this before I realized I was offline, but this whole time we seem to be seeing people discussing the events, so it doesn't seem to be Mouse herself looking at the timelines. We should be easy to arrange, and the stage is set perfectly. This is the intended result. The deck of cards drop back on the table. I've got it. Are you sure? I believe these are Rooster and Snake's colors. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is them. Are you sure? I mean, you've been shuffling through that deck of cards for hours now, which is creepy, I might add, but you weren't actually doing that much. Oh, I was doing plenty. I've died, what, a couple dozen times at this point more? Yeah, and at this point, it makes it clear it's entirely possible, well, whether or not this is Snake and Rooster is up for debate, what does matter is that these are clearly people who are in the death game, because they're looking through these possible timelines. Or rather, it might not be timelines, it could just be playing out the events to see how things go. Because they were giving us clues as to how to get through it. So I guess it was just them trying to figure a way through. Because at the end, it always ended that this timeline is too unstable, or this ending's too unstable. Wasn't keeping track, that's beside the point. Okay then, so are we good now? Of course, I've maxed out the perfect sequence, take care of things just the way you want. Fantastic, I knew I could count on you. So what now? Things should all be in the process of being put into action, right? There's not much left. For now, I'll handle capturing the mouse, you handle the rest. Think you can nail that? Of course I can, don't condescend to me. Don't condescend to me. Could be Jade Emperor, I guess, but I wouldn't dream of it. And like that, the room had one person in it. It's funny, mapping everyone's lives on boards like this, moving like pieces, having them completely under my control. It's liberating. Now I'm the one that makes decisions. I think that's horse's color, or is it... yeah, I think that's horse's color, yeah. Or is it monkey's? This is, sheep's color, yeah. What's wrong with the brat? I don't know how else to put it. I don't believe your child suffering... I believe your child is suffering from an inability to feel emotions, or at least a severe impalement do so. Looking at things historically, this is often a symptom of the brain lacking. Hold on, I don't give a damn about the science at all. Are you telling me my kid's a freak? No, hold on, I did say freak. Let's be careful with the terminology. You're saying they can't feel emotions. It's sociopathic. That's the epitome of being a freak. The doctor was wrong. It's not that I couldn't feel emotions, it's just that I didn't need to feel them unless I wanted to. I had control over them in a very little sense. Really, this was an advantage, wasn't it? No, there were drawbacks. I learned pretty quickly my reactions weren't like the others. That I was viewed differently from the others. To remedy that, I got better at leaving them on all the time. For a time, it's perfect. I was able to blend in, more or less. It took me a while before I came to the painful realization of how careless I'd been, leaving them on like that. Since then, I've learned. Why am I thinking about that person now of all times? This is unproductive. Well, might as well... Maybe I could sympathize with them a bit more now. After all, it really does feel good to be in control of other people's lives. Sheesh, my head... It's like I can hear a blaring noise, just ringing, ring, ring. Shut up, shut up. What's with the noise? Like, wait, this is real. I came to my senses, I realized I was no longer blindfolded, no longer bound and gagged. Whatever alarm was waking me, I guess it should finish doing its job. I was at the point I realized there was something covering my face. The feeling? I tried to pull it off, and to my surprise, I realized a mouse mask had been put over my head. Why on earth would this be here? And more importantly, what was it stuck to? Some more investigation revealed my throat was surrounded by a metallic heavy device. The hell? Immediately I tried to get off, but unlike the mask, this thing was here to stay. It didn't seem good. But I couldn't dwell on that. I needed to assess the situation. So what did I know? It looked like I was in some sort of science classroom. Now then, what would be the case? As I pondered that, I noticed another person, a man, getting to his feet. Whoa, what the hell? Ah. Hey, what's going on? Who are you? Easy, I don't know what's happening. After calming down, I realized the man and I were on the same page. We were kidnapped, put into some sort of ludicrous situation. For now, we decided to go by the animal names of the masks we wore when we woke up. Looking around, our situation seemed pretty grim, locked in what appeared to be a school without any idea where we were taken. Before long, a voice went over the speakers. Yeah, if it looks like the beginning is repeating, that's intentional. However, when I first went through all this, when I was first going through all this, it wouldn't let me skip, which means this is genuinely all new stuff. Which is, of course, hinted at by the fact it's skipping a few parts. Good morning, Rat. Good morning, Alex. How was your sleep? What's this? Some message for the kidnappers, I imagine. I hope you got some rest. You'll need it for the upcoming race. Be prepared for the jury to face judgment. I suggest you listen to what I say very carefully. Failure to comply will result in immediate disqualification, and trust me, that outcome will leave no one satisfied. Now then, you should be able to be promptly proceed to the starting line. In that case, there should be a cafeteria on the first floor. Right outside this room should be a staircase with which will take you to the first floor, and from there it's a simple right turn. Before you leave, make sure each of you grabs the tablet with your respective animal printed on it. Take good care of these, they will be critically important. That's all for now. Do come quickly. The Jade Emperor eagerly awaits your control. And so it seems whoever those strange, mysterious people are, I'm guessing that thing at the end where they were discussing... Yeah, I guess that's a news report at the end where they were discussing everything. Was... Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. But yeah. I guess they're trying to figure out which outcome they would get them precisely what they were seeking, exactly. Which means, rather than all being potential timelines, either they're gauging everything that's they're guessing everything that's going on. They might be pairing it to other timelines, but it seems like they're trying to set up the game to make it go in a specific way to get a certain outcome. And as you saw, they do not want a flawless outcome. And with that, the speakers cut off, leaving us standing there processing what we just heard. After back and forth, we decided to comply with the voice's orders, make our way to the cafeteria. There we met with a whole bunch of interesting characters. Olympian, friendly-looking guy, gang leader, a creepy artist, an incredibly jacked dude, and a meek-looking girl. An apparent movie star, my therapist, to my great surprise, and a journalist. A scruffy-looking man who was eyeing me with plenty of suspicion. We all agreed my suggestion of adopting our animal masks as monikers. The wait for some sort of explanation as to what's going on was certainly unpleasant. However, eventually television turned on, showing a hooded person I can only assume to be the Jade Emperor. They demanded we put our animal masks on while they spoke. As we complied, they began to explain the situation we found ourselves in. You all, if you have not yet realized, you'll be the 12 Zodiac animals who will compete in my race. Thought a man might be like that. You might ask why you were animals. There are a number of good answers to that question, but to put it simply, you all live your lives through the awareness of animals. You go about day to day without a damn care in the world. Peacefully moving onwards, never stopping back to reflect or apologize for your sins. Your murder. Our murder? What are we talking about? Oh, don't pretend you don't know, you glory-hungry liar. You see, perhaps not all of you know it, but the 12 of you were the jury of a particular trial. Of course, we weren't the actual jury, I don't blame them. What I mean is if each of you made selfish or stupid choices. Each of you were complicit. Each of you decided to help hang an innocent man for a murder he did not commit. This idea you all have, that you just get to walk away from that and not look at what you've done, it's sickening. That's not fair. You all deserve a chance to be punished. You all must all be tried. This is what we're doing today, a Zodiac Trial. Trial, as in we're being prosecuted. Perhaps my word choice has given off the wrong impression. Initially, I did have an idea more similar to that. However, I think instead we shall sell this for the race. A race fitting for the beast you are. So, what are the rules of this trial? Finally, someone's asking the proper questions. Yeah, and I still think that he must have done this live, at least to some extent, because he was directly responding to people like Pig there, and I don't think he could have properly guessed that. Oh, unless these people are seeing the future somehow. Finally, someone's asking proper questions. Please take a look at the display. As you can see, your 12 animals are lined up on the left, going from top to bottom in the order they come in the calendar. You may also notice there are 24 spaces between the starting line for the animals and the end of it. The aim of this race is to use the tablets provided to move your animal to the finish line. That makes sense. Before continuing, I think it would be pertinent to address a certain rule you'll find important. Each tablet may only be operated by its owner. Additionally, the owner must be alone in a room when making it. If you operate your tablet with another person in the room, or if someone else operates your tablet, you'll be instantly executed. Executed? I suspected something like this, but it's a shock to hear it laid out like that. What the hell? Hey Dips, you think you can kill me that easily? Oh, but I can, for you see each of your necklaces is outfitted with a devious device. At the mere push of a button, knives on the inside will come out, cleanly slicing your necks open, leaving you to die. How does that feel, knowing that just like that you can be executed, dead? Feel fun? Is it enjoyable for you scum? But I don't want to die. Calm down, I'll only be executed if we break the rules, right? There's a bit more to it than that, but you're right that I won't kill you for no reason. There'd be no point to any of this if I was just a senseless murder. You mean murderer. No, I guarantee that if all of you behave appropriately, every single one of you can leave alive. And what does that entail? The race will consist of 12 rounds. If no animals are able to get to the finish line at the end of the 12th round, all of you will be executed. Every round will last 45 minutes. All participants must take an action within those 45 minutes. If a participant does not take an action, they will be executed. At the end of the round, animals take their actions in order from top to the bottom. Using the tablet, there are a few available options. All animals can simply run. Choosing run will move your animal one space forwards. You also choose your animal ability. Each animal has their own ability that will help them in the race. Be sure to click the information button to learn what your ability does. Participants are also allowed to confess once per game. If you choose confess, then at the end of the round when it's your animal's turn, you'll be given an opportunity. You may use this 1-minute opportunity to give a meaningful confession to me. Afterwards, I will rate the effectiveness of the confession, and your animal may move anywhere from 0 to 5 spaces. What's your basis for your ranking? I'm under no obligation to tell you that. Try it for yourself if you're so curious. Finally, you can also choose to use an item. Throughout the school, I've hidden some things of practical use, as well as items to use in the race. The physical item will have a passcode on it. Input the passcode into the tablet to use it. Only one participant may use an item, any given item, one per round. There are a total of 24 items in the school. Major and minor trinket for each animal. All animal minor trinkets are the same. Using it will move you a number of spaces equal to the number of other animals who use a minor trinket. So, for example, if you use the mouse minor trinket by yourself, you'll move 1 space. However, if you use the mouse and a friend uses the ox, and then 2 enemies use tiger and bunny minor trinkets before. Yeah, one thing to point out here is he says 2 enemies and names tiger and bunny, which is rather interesting given tiger may go off the deep end if sufficiently angered, but she's actually one of the less selfless people, because remember, in previous timelines, she never hesitated to give herself up immediately, even when she was forced to be a traitor. On the other hand, the major trinkets each have their own effect. You'll have to figure out what they do by finding themselves. Even though each animal has a major and minor trinket, they're not exclusive, so if a dog wanted to use Pig's minor trinket, that is totally allowed. Yeah, what a childish game to stake our lives on. It really makes you all seem small in comparison, doesn't it? Anyways, that is the essence of this role. At the end of each round, after all the animals have taken their actions, if any animals have made it to the finish line, the race will end. Those at the finish line will have their collars automatically unlocked, and everyone else will be executed. Ah, seriously? How you choose to run the race is up to you. Hey, Brian, I gotta ask you something. Brian? What are you talking about? Bri, buddy, where is he? Where's who? You told me to be seeing my old pal Ollie here, but I'm not seeing him right now. What's up with that? Unceremoniously, the television cut off. It appeared Dog's comments had caught the Jade Emperor off guard. The hell was that about? You chatted with this asshole? Nah, not really. I was just trying to get a reaction out of the guy. And I think I did my job pretty well, if you ask me. But why'd you call him Brian? It appears our compatriot Dog has caught on to what I noticed. You noticed it too? Snake went on to explain who our mysterious captor was. Snake knowing him makes sense because he was actually Brian's teacher, but Dog is a bit of an interesting case. The son of one Aaron Bowen. Things suddenly clicked into place for me. Realize how I fit into all this. That's what that was. Oh, screw this! Mouse, okay, seriously? Is this supposed to be revenge for your dad's execution? Okay, be in denial about your dad's guilt, but why take it on me? You're gonna ruin your life to take revenge on someone who wasn't even involved? Or what, you're angry that my father wasn't able to save your dad up against all that evidence? My father believed in your dad's innocence, Brian. He tried his best to save him. And because of that, you're putting me through there? That's messed up and you know it. Whoa, Mouse, you have a right to be angry, but let's take a moment to calm down. Why do you get off trying to tell her to calm down? If anything, she should be more mad. God certainly knows I am. After all, there's no goddamn reason I should be here. I ain't got the faintest idea what connects me to all this. Really? Are you sure about that? What are you saying? You call me a liar? No, not at all. I'm just saying I would think you'd have some connection to these cases. To the case? After all, I'm looking around here, and most of these people do. So think hard. You sure not you're involved? Of course I'm not. Bizarre. Hey, it's also weird I'm in here. I mean, what did I do? The articles I put out weren't unfair or anything. A bunch of people reported on it in general. From there, people began to discuss the connections. It did seem almost everyone had a reason for being there, even if some seemed incredibly tenuous. So then why was Dragon? Regardless, the group couldn't focus on that. Dragon does mention her boyfriend offhand, and her boyfriend was killed by scorpions in some fashion in the one timeline where Ox gets poisoned. However, we don't yet know how that ties in everything. We are more important matters. We need to deal with the stupid game that Brian set up. That'd be some way of getting through as a group. A couple ideas were thrown around until an idea was formed. Look, let's just try the simple solution. What's the simple solution? I'm talking about minor trinkets. Oh, I get it. You do? There are 12 minor trinkets, and their movement is equal to the number of people using them. If we were to find all 12, we could cross the finish line as a group in 2 rounds. Oh, it's a good idea, Horse. If we do that, we'll all be fine. Can we get out of here? Get out of there alive, then? Hey, have any of y'all seen a knife like this before? Out of the blue, Dog pulled a knife out in front of everyone. What the? Yeah, something's going on here because Dog is doing a lot of stuff he never did in the past. Perhaps I'm right, the dog and someone else were involved in this. Monkey seems like the other one, but it was using Snake's colors. Well, it's used Snake's and Rooster colors, but it doesn't look like they're involved. They're directly tied to this somehow. Though I suppose we technically... Well, Snake did discuss his backstory to us. We just didn't get a, one of those flashbacks to it, but not everyone does. I mean, with Pig, she just... left behind a message. Or something like this. As he held it out, it looked like he was scanning everybody's expressions. What the hell? Why do you have that? I keep it on my person all the time to check my boot, and I found it still had it on me. Smart. I have to say, that's a real swanky knife. Ooh, can I play with it? No. Please? I already said no. Pretty please? But when you put it like that, fine. Really? Of course not. Rooster pouted and then turned to Monkey. Dog's mean. I am aware. Dumb as it seemed, Rooster did have a point. The knife was golden and many intricate engravings. Seemed pricey. It seems odd that they would miss something like that being on his person. Then again, maybe they didn't, and Dog and Snake are the two involved, because it looks like Dog and Snake were the only ones who managed to have items on them. Then again, yeah, it didn't turn out that yeah, it strangely turned out that Tiger had a gun on her, which seemed a bit weird. It's entirely possible she found it. There's been a bunch of them hidden around, but at the same time... Alright, so we know for an absolute fact Snake had to... and Dog managed to smuggle items in. It's hard to tell if they were expected or not. Since they were... Assuming they were kidnapped without anything, why would Brian allow them to keep potentially dangerous items? Perhaps to cause more of an interesting game, perhaps? Is there a point to this line of questioning? Not particularly. Just thought it'd be weird if anyone else did have a knife like this, especially since there are only 2 of these out there. If that's the case, why do you think one of us had one? I don't know. Although I do want one now. Hey, you think it's cool already? Check out this. Dog pushed a little button in the knife, and the base of the knife fell down, revealing a little compartment. Inside the compartment appeared to be a small metal capsule. A little hidey hole. Alright, we're approaching the point I got to before I finally realized, oh wait, I'm offline. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is the point I was getting nervous because last time he took advantage of the confusion to set it off, but he said there was such enthusiasm, but again, it looked like Dog was more concerned with everyone else's expressions than anything else. Oh, that's sick. Right? Alright, so he's trying to figure out who's reacting to it, who should theoretically already know. So how much would you be willing to pay for it? Paying's boring. I'll bet you something for it. That doesn't seem very fair. What would you be betting? I don't know, Olympic medal, maybe? You'd be willing to pour something like that? I thought you said you didn't actually place in the Olympics. Oh, you'd have to place again an Olympic medal, huh? Yeah, they have commemorative medals to everyone who participates now. What is happening in the world? That's the thing that's bothering you, horse. Everyone settle down. We've gotten wildly off topic. Did all of you just forget we're in a life and death situation? Anyways, like Horse pointed out, with the trinkets, it would only take 2 rounds to finish the race. We have plenty of time to search, and the school is not that large. Let us first find all the minor trinkets. There, where should we start search? Actually, we should input a move. After all this talking, round 1's almost over. I looked at a nearby clock and found Bunny was absolutely right. Ah, Bunny's right. Let's all split up and use our run. Then we can reconvene. With the game plan, everyone split up and input their moves. We came back and watched the display track our progress. We began discussing how we split up. I was listening to the group when I heard something. I'm thinking about checking the training room. I saw beforehand there might be a trinket. Training room, by the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, I think he's got it. Trinket's definitely hidden there. Shame I'm already accounted for. Another group. Believe me, it's no shame at all. I don't want you to come with me. Would you quit snapping your fingers like that? You don't possess the rhythm for it to be cool. Actually, could I join you, Horse? I don't know why, but when I heard about the training room, something clicked. I felt that was definitely the right choice to make. I decided to go with the Horse. Sheep also tagged along. Sure enough, we were able to find something. It turned out to be a major trinket that didn't seem particularly useful. After we reconvened in the cafeteria at the end of the round, we discussed where else to look. When Bunny and Monkey discussed something but floor, I got a similar feeling about it. So I ended up exploring a forum with the Monkey, Dog, and Bunny. Not Monkey. That leads to Mouse being the traitor. And eventually found a major trinket that could act like a minor trinket. Score. However, at the end of the 3rd round, we were presented with more of a problem. The Jade Emperor came on the screen and introduced a bullshit new rule that affected the person with the accomplished as well as the weak personality. So yeah, it seems... Yeah. This is about where I reached last time before I realized... Yeah, this is about the point where I finally reached where I was all, oh, I'm offline. And more importantly, this is also where I realized, yeah, those people trying to figure out knew exactly which personalities and stuff to make sure it would be the correct timeline. Because of all the timelines, only the ones where ox and sheep are the traitors do they actually do anything. Are we able to actually succeed? They set them up to have motives completely incompatible with the group. For a while, everyone was panicking, thinking at least 2 people would have to die. However, I realized if we combined the 2 major trinkets I'd found, we'd be able to save those affected by the twist. After proposing this idea, everyone rejoiced. Sure that I'd solved Brian's puzzle. I'm not gonna lie, hearing all that praise made me feel pretty good. But there was a more important issue to attest to. We couldn't feel safe until we were out of the building. Ox and Sheep admitted to having aforementioned personalities, and using the trinkets, we were able to save them. With that matter settled, we could once again focus on searching for minor trinkets. It took some doing, but before long we collected 11. Combine that with my ability, and we'd be able to escape in 2 rounds. The first round of using the trinkets... things went off without a hitch. However, as I entered to put my axe a second time, the speakers kicked on. Well, are you happy, Mouse? Happy you were able to band together, finish things without any casualties? I imagine you aren't. You think so little of me. Mouse, you understand, this was now come I intended to be possible. Granted, I did not think it likely. Still, it was always on the table. If you were truly innocent of heart, you wouldn't easily be swayed by words. You'd be calm, rational, work as a group, and evade the trap set for you. The Jade Emperor talked a big game, but his annoyed tapping on a nearby table belied his anger. And we did just that. Doesn't that prove you wrong? Prove that you're going through all this troubles for nothing? Perhaps. However, I wonder how many times you would have had to fail before you could get a success like this. Had to fail, what does that mean? Had this outcome been the result of a cosmic dice roll, I was wondering how many times God would have had to roll the dice to see something like this. I imagine quite a few. I imagine more often than not your sin would doom you. Yeah, because those people observing, well, we know for a fact that this is the only timeline where everything works out. It only works out where people discover it. But more importantly, you can't accidentally stumble upon this particular outcome. To be more specific, you have to do Sheep's timeline in order to unlock this one, because only hers do you get the correct date that is then given to you. As such, you have to fail at least once in order to get this ending. But I don't think it's ending. But then again, that's just to unlock the computer error, which unlocks this particular timeline and unlocks the Mouse Trader one. You still have to get the names of Tiger and Bunny. Sounds like an awful lot of bullshit coming from a sore loser. I don't know how little you think of us, but I know for one, no matter how many times you put us through this, we'd always band together. If you say so. You can only act smug for so long, Brian. Soon enough, we're gonna get out of this place and you're gonna go to jail. Indeed, I imagine the police will not look too favorably on all this. While I regret I won't be able to land a punch on your face yourself. You know, if you really want to, I'll let you. What do you mean? Outside the school, there's a football field. There's a small building right beside the fence surrounding that field. I've been using that as my base of operations, so if you want to come find me to get justice yourself, that's where I'll be. And you're telling me this because? Think of it as your reward for perfect victory. You can punch me in your father's absence, although I doubt he'd say this was a correct form of justice. Still be a shame if you never got to take vengeance for yourself before the police arrive. Seeing the asshole face to face, something felt right about the suggestion. You know what? I think I'll do just that. I'm gonna knock you flat when this is all over. I look forward to it. Like that speaker went dead. Okay, he's a lot more provocative in this. He's a lot more provoking in this timeline compared to the one that we completed. And likewise, his mouse was a lot more willing to do it. Feeling oddly good about the encounter, I exited the room. Soon enough, I saw a dragon angrily dragging Snake. As I wondered, I noticed Dog also following them. Before I could think too much, Bunny called out, "Everybody gather around here right now, let's all get together." In an instant, he got the attention of the crowd. Before I knew it, people off in their own, even separate classrooms, were standing in a group. Everyone was gathered except Dragon, Snake, and Dog. Alright, we hear you. Let me guess, you want to make a big old heroic speech about how we did and we worked together. That's not exact. Well, guess what? You don't get to make that speech, I do. Now, some of you might be wondering if I have the credentials to handle such a task. I assure you we are not. Well, it turns out I made a speech in a number of my films. A number of films which I now completely list off in order of release date, complete with a brief summary of the flick, as well as a quote from both the coolest and dumbest review. I think everyone's willing to cede the floor to you on this one. Why, thank you, Monkey. I'm glad I inspired so much faith. Gosh, I wouldn't even need to list my bona fides. Well, brings it. Just get on with it. Alright, yeah, Dog and Rooster seem to be the ones behind all. Because Rooster here is clearly making distraction while Dog does something. Get on with what? The speech. The speech? Right here, right now? You wanted to give it, didn't you? You stole the job from Bunny. I wasn't even gonna make a speech. Alright, if you insist, Pig. Gosh, I didn't even prepare anything. I guess freestyle. Speech time, flight round 9 has ended. Oh, thank goodness. Let's see how the race has progressed. Bunny uses a minor trinket. Bunny has moved the finish line. Dragon uses a minor trinket. Snake uses a minor trinket. So that means Dog did something to quell the fight. Finish line has been crossed. The winners are Mouse, Ox, Tiger, Bunny, Snake, Dragon, Horse, Sheep, Monkey, Tiger, Dog, and Pig. Congratulations. Anyone who's not won is lost. Prepare for execution. Those endings hardly seemed apt. After all, we all made it through just fine. I heard the click of my necklace. We did it. Yeah, we did it. As people began to remove the necklace, a sense of achievement and celebration went through the group. The feeling was infectious. After all, we were home free. Once that thing got off the neck, there was no immediate danger. The sheer weight of these necklaces had almost been lost on us. Not the physical weight, but the weight of knowing that at any moment we could just die. The scene in front of me was a comforting one, a pleasant one, but one I could indulge in, because I remembered I'd made other arrangements. I didn't want to keep a certain someone waiting. Before someone could notice, I slipped away. Then I made my entrance, or rather the exit. I grabbed the doorknob and pulled. I expected it would be locked. However, to my surprise, the door was open quite easily. I suppose the collars on her neck were the real deterrent for leaving the building. As I walked outside, I could once again feel the sun on my skin. I could breathe fresh air. That was free. I could run straight back home. That's what I'd normally be thinking. However, none of those thoughts crossed my mind. Set a single goal. Not what did Brian say it was. I looked around, and sure enough, I saw the building the football field was referring to. I strode towards it confidently. There was a part of me, some back of the mind, which questioned why I felt so sure this was a good idea. The other part wasn't longer the part driving me forward to punch me in the face. As I gripped the doorknob, I felt confident, so I began to open. However, as I pulled, it felt something weird. Huh? My eyes darted downward. Was that a wire? However, as I noticed the detail, I felt a deep shock to my back. Before I could open the door more than a crack, I collapsed. What was this? My vision began to fade. I tried to look who my attacker was. I expected to see Brian, but instead I found looking at an entirely separate face, an unexpected one. What are you doing here? That's all I could get out before leaving. What the hell do you mean I'm on hiatus? Look, I'm perfectly fine to continue working. I've already been well over a week since the incident, and in case you didn't know, I wasn't... Yeah, my guess is Dog was intentionally trying to stop the last deaths, possibly against whoever was trying to control all this. Whoever was trying to set up, I mean. This also explains why they decided to go with this one. They wanted to get some very specific people... Whoever was overseeing these events wanted to see very specific people die before the end. They didn't want it, and Mouse was one of them, despite supposedly being one of the least connected to the people to it. Which means Mouse has a bit more relevance to the story than she's been telling us. Although I guess to be fair, she knows and has no reason to say it out loud since, well, she already knows it. She knows, but we, the player, do not. So I've been awake. In case you didn't know, I wasn't even injured or anything. I'm sure this is you trying to be considerate. Believe me, I'm getting back to work and put my mind at ease more than anything at this point. Already rested just fine. What do you mean I've been compromised personal bias? Prosecutors always have personal biases. Everyone has personal biases, and it doesn't mean I can't do my damn job. Therapy. Okay, I think you're not being objective right now. I get it. I'll take a break and we'll talk later. Thank you, you're too kind. I still have some time, yes? Great, awesome. How about we do some questions? And you got something you want to ask me? Yeah, you in the back, red cardigan. How do I feel to Brian? That's a tough one, isn't it? To be clear, I'm not just going to be talking from my own perspective on all this. On one hand, I think the little pipsqueak is pretty weak. I mean, I was getting angry about injustice, but killing... Oh, he took himself out in an explosion when all was said and done? That's a coward's way out. If he had the conviction to set everything up, how the conviction to see things through? That's my opinion on him. My feelings? A bit of pity, I guess. Seems like he's been dealt a rough hand. To be honest, I'm kind of a bit thankful let me go through that crazy experience. I'm sensing some of you are turning against me now. Am I supposed to be angry at him or something? Other than him, it's not like anyone got injured. Yeah, I'm aware people are still missing. Jeez, did you hear Bowen at the press conference earlier today? That was real brutal. I'm telling you, it's a sorry thing. Just because a nut job believes something with a ton of conviction doesn't mean that belief is a bit justified. And yet, since the incident, there's been a number of people questioning if Brian could have been right. I mean, how do you get off honoring complete psycho's will? Anyways, Bowen's completely prepared for the whole mess. After dropping all the evidence, any disruptive rumors are sure to watch away. But, between you and me, when some of the events, not exactly... Hey, of course I'm not questioning Bowen at all. Aaron Moore's clearly guilty. The chief is just making that abundantly clear in a way he saw fit. You're right, there's nothing good to do here. Anyways, it looks like he wants to completely bury the case. I know he's always kept an eye on that thing, whenever any new leads might show up. Not because he expected any, because his brother who died and all, but the state now has to double down on the conviction unless we want a whole bunch of unrest, which means bolstering the truth as much as possible, and getting rid of disruption to the narrative. Hey man, can we talk in private later after this? Yes, Mom, like I said before, I was just a victim in all this. I didn't have any involvement. No, I don't know why I was targeted then. I think it's related to what happened with my previous boss, Amadeus. You're right, Mom, Amadeus was very sweet. It's a shame what happened to him. And it's a shame that Aaron's selfishness led to his son also falling into... You're right, Brian doesn't have any excuse. He really is just a bad kid, but he's gone now, and I'm safe. And there really isn't anything to worry about anymore. Okay, Mom, I need to go back to work. I'm pretty sure she's on the phone right now. Alright, love you. Yes, I was involved in high school incident. What of it? No, really, it's incredible. You should have seen it. Everyone's completely freaking out. Their faces flustered. I swear, there were moments from completely collapsing to anarchy, brandishing weapons, and killing each other in a frenzy. They're already scheming about how they could be the ones to survive this horrid game. However, I wasn't going to accept any victims, not on my watch. All my brain particles have spent analyzing the situation, searching for a way to save all the poor victims consigned to the rogue personality. It seemed like an impossible task, which of course was meant to be, but in a flash of inspiration I realized. If we combined two major trinkets we already found, we'd be able to ensure everyone could get out alive. The moment I pointed out the loophole, everyone broke out applause. Really, had to be there. It's like I was really one of my past movies. Oh, and speaking of movies, I already licensed the rights to the story, so look out for my next flick. I'm sure it's sure to be sure hit. Yes, I'm aware I was responsible for the counseling of the accused. Why am I calling him the accused? The state has yet to officially make a case against him yet, right? Formality it may be. I prefer the man transcendental guilty. At any rate, this whole incident naturally falls to some extent on me for not being able to give him the counseling required. I am willing to face repercussions for my hand in not preventing this tragedy. However, I'd like to make my position clear. Brian was an incredibly disturbed individual. True, trauma accounts for some of it, but only some of it. There was much deeper darkness in him. I recommended increased help to his mother several times, but it was always ignored. For some reason, she believed these gestures of mine were made in pursuit of financial gain instead of concern for the boy, and I noted to her that he began to skip our sessions. I did not wish to lay any more suffering on her doorstep at this time. She was already overwrought with grief. However, I think that some responsibility falls to Brian's actual guardian. Still, I failed to do my job and people got hurt. I will take responsibility. No, easy, it's insane. I've never been blowing up to this extent. The series of articles I published on the incident have become the go-to thing to read when you want to know what happened. I've been getting booked for so many different podcast appearances. Since I've been plugging non-stop, it means the increased viewership on all my other projects. Hate to say it, but being kidnapped for the game might have been one of the best things that happened to me. Sure, there's some side effects going through the experience, like paranoia, panic attacks, insomnia, depression, but who cares? I had all that beforehand anyways. So yeah, this is one chance to really grip a hold of the public consciousness. If I fire this out properly, I can be set for life. The next steps are to capitalize on all this hype. How to do it? Obviously, I gotta work on some sort of video series, doing a deep dive. I've also been toying with the idea of writing an op-ed in defense of Brian. The incident happening in the first place was also a pretty scathing indictment of the different systems we have in place, so I can spin a few different articles for who's at fault in the whole thing. Think I'm too young to publish a memoir? The news surrounding the incident is still incoming as we get more information. There's still unsolved mysteries. Perhaps the biggest question mark is the location of 4 of the victims abducted by the mastermind. The other victims of the incident claim that all 4 were in fact alive at the end of the purported death game. However, at present, it seems as though the ex-cop and current bartender Jamie Walbert stole a nearby car from the scene and kidnapped a young law student, local gang leader, and an older teacher. The motivation for such an act is incredibly unclear. This combined with the purported interactions between Brian Morrison and Mr. Wilbur before the incident have led to some to speculate the ex-cop may have been a co-conspirator in the kidnappings. However, at this point, rumors are mere speculation. More importantly, the police are still eagerly searching for any sign of the 4 missing persons. and many are concerned about the possibility the victims, despite escaping the death game, were unable to escape death. My head hurt. I had not been getting sleep. I don't know how I could have been. Sure, my captor was generous enough to provide me with a mattress and a blanket. Those few inches between me and the concrete floor did little. At this point, the collar on my neck was really uncomfortable to sleep in, especially since it was connected to a chain. I mean, I get what I was forced to wear, but still, it sucked. Oh, and there was also the whole currently being kidnapped thing. That certainly didn't help with my stress levels. I swear, if you want to walk in my area one more time, I'm going to strangle you while you sleep. Painting needs inspiration. When inspired, I wander. The only thing you're inspiring is my urge to beat the shit out of you. My roommates also left a lot to be desired. Could you two please calm down? Are you really trying to go back to sleep with the lights on and everything? No, I'm just getting sick of you two. Your arguments are incessant. I'm sick of it. Why can't you just behave? I don't know if I deserve blame in all this. If I recall, the majority of the altercations came from Dragon attacking me or something rather benign. Yeah, but you're provoking her. Who, me? I'd never. That's it. You know exactly what you're doing. If I've learned anything over these past few days, they're just as childish, actually just as childish as she is. Childish? Who the hell are you calling childish? I don't have time for this. Correction, you have nothing but time for this. And that's a problem, isn't it? It was at this point the captain decided to make his entrance carrying food and drinks. I brought breakfast. Sounds fill the room. Thank you, might be nice. Screw you, you psychopath. You kidnapped us. Maybe, but this and that are separate things, so do you want breakfast or not? Our meal contingent on showing our respect by thanking you. It'd be rather dickish if that was the case, wasn't it? It would. Then I suppose not. In that case, I'll also refrain. Gotcha, Mouse. Thank you for the meal, dog. No problem. Mouse, you traitorous strike... You were supposed to be United Front. A United Front doesn't have nearly as much infighting as this. Besides, a United Front against who? Well, dog, obviously. I need a full United Front to be taken down. How flattering. If Dragon was expecting me to work up a lot of anger at Dog, she'd be disappointed. I was pretty pissed at him, no doubt, but all things considered, he'd been a pretty reasonable host. He listened to most of the requests and did his best to keep us occupied with books and painting supplies and whatnot. He even hosted daily game nights, which was slightly surreal. And besides, I could see where he's coming from with all this. A lot more than I could with Brian, at any rate. So, Dick, anything change? Are you gonna let us out yet? If I do, you gonna storm out there in the open? Oh, of course I am. Why? You gonna leave me? Want me to live in your stupid basement forever? In that case, I'm afraid you have to stay here. Trust me, it's for your own good. How can you say that shit with a straight face when you're imprisoning us? Well, I also saved you three, so I think evens out. I must say, dog, I'm surprised we are still here. Presumably the police are looking for us, no? Oh, they are, but I doubt they'll find us here. Got a lot of good connections working as a cop and a bartender. This is pretty low-key, pretty reliable. We could hide out here for over a month. How exciting. Dog, I'm trying to be understanding. I still don't understand everything. I don't understand why you're doing all this. Could you explain all clearly? Again with this? Well, I suppose keeping it from you ain't gonna do much good at this point. If I'm gonna be keeping you guys without your consent, least I could do is give you the full layout. Else I'd be total scum, you know? Trust me, you already are. Ouch. Well, that might be fair. Anyways, you all understand, I'm gonna have to bore you all with the whole story, so strap in, folks. How exciting. Looking forward to it. Could you two shut up? They're honestly a lot more similar than either would care to admit. Alright, so y'all know that I used to be a cop, right? You might not believe it, but I was a pretty good one. The current chief of police, Bowen, I came up with that guy. He was a good friend, and that's important for why I haven't killed the guy on my own at this point. It's a sad and thankless job when that did a number on my soul, but it did all the same. Eventually, enough was enough. The job was too cruel, thankless, and draining. Plus, the force was slowly getting corrupt. Slowly? Alright, I guess you could argue the course has never been a shining example of justice as it was meant to be, but I'm talking about a lot more substantial degradation. I also know it's not in spite of Oliver or becoming chief of police, but because of him. I tried to get a straight answer from him what it was all about, but that was a failed endeavor. At some point, it just wasn't worth it, so I quit, became a bartender, yada yada. And that was until the case where Aaron Morris killed Amadeus Bowen, Oliver's brother. Due to odd circumstances, I ended up getting involved in the case. I gave important testimony at trial. When Morris was sentenced, I thought that was that. Till Oliver came to my bar one night a wreck. Well, he hadn't been great ever since his brother's death, but he was different. I was familiar with the look of desperation I'd seen in criminals. After a bit of pressuring, he finally spilled. I honestly couldn't tell you why he told me the truth that night. Enough stress piled up and he had no one to talk to. I guess he'd need to confess. Whatever the case he told me was actually up with the force. Apparently his brother, Amadeus, the jackass, had been filling his head with a bunch of stupid ideas about how he'd have better control of the police, ergo the city if he got dirt on his subordinates. So that's what Oliver did, intentionally created situations where he could get the blackmail material of people he employed, filled a whole file full of stuff. Pretty scummy shit, but not as scummy as what his brother did then. Amadeus got Oliver on tape confessing the whole blackmail scheme, thus creating blackmail over him. I imagine being screwed over by her own brother. That's gotta make Thanksgivings awkward. Using the leverage, Amadeus got Oliver to hand over all the material he'd already collected on the subordinates, so at this point, Amadeus has thumb over the entire force. but turns out it was far from all he had control over. See, this little blackmail idea from Amadeus wasn't just spur of the moment. Amadeus had been creating his own little folder for some time. Being CEO of an entertainment company, he had plenty of time to meet with big names, powerful people. Slowly and methodically, Amadeus had been dragging more and more people into his web. I don't know the specifics about how he did it, but suffice to say, Amadeus was doing some real sketchy shit, but it didn't work for him. At this point, it'd be pretty much the whole city of Hightower under his influence in one way or another. He was in complete control, then he ended up dying. That's karma for you, I suppose. When Oliver told me this, I didn't know what to say. Mostly just wanted to punch him, but that wasn't going to be effective at accomplishing anything, so I instead asked him something. By Oliver's description, Amadeus is pretty much the actual devil, so why bother by his death? Instead of answering my question, he took out a knife, a golden intricate knife. Is that? Yeah, it's a knife I showed you the other day. As fate would have it, Oliver ended up leaving the knife with me in the end of the night as a gift, but originally, Oliver was gifted the knife by his late father. Oliver's dad was a craftsman, and at some point he gifted 2 identical knives to his 2 sons, Amadeus and Oliver. Oliver never thought much of it, but Amadeus loved it. Supposedly, Amadeus had always been a lot closer to his father than Oliver. The fun thing about these knives, they're outfitted with a small hidey hole. You wouldn't know it just looking at the knife, but the one like I showed you the other day, it's good for holding something small. Amadeus kept his knife with his person on all times as a sort of keepsake. He also kept a special USB flash drive on him. A flash drive contained the totality of his work. His golden gun, his blackmail portfolio, 3 guesses to where he hid it, and the knife's hidey hole. The knife's hidey hole. Bingo. Mouse gets in one. Makes sense, really. Keep one thing with you at all times, you keep another thing with you at all times. One thing has a slot to hide the other, to the size of it. Kinda inconceivable. But here's the thing, something happened that Amadeus Bowen didn't account for. He was killed. And something that happened to Oliver Bowen didn't account either. The knife was missing from the crime scene. What? I don't recall hearing about this detail. Yeah, obviously this wasn't a problem Oliver was eager to bring up to the public. But no matter how much he looked, he couldn't find the knife anywhere. He couldn't find anywhere in Aaron Morris's house either. Aaron Morris claimed to know nothing about it, but of course, Aaron Morris also claimed he was innocent. Oliver was confident the guys had found the culprit, but Oliver was also nervous about the missing knife. That night, Oliver was drunkenly confessing the knife was still missing. To his knowledge, no one in the file had blackmailed recently, including him, of course. But if anyone ever found the USB, it could be disastrous. Yep. The whole thing was pretty messed up. Anyways, that's what Oliver told me. The reason the force came down so decisively on Aaron was probably because they wanted to sell the matter definitively. Meanwhile, Oliver would handle the search for the knife privately. Flash forward a few years, he kept in touch, said the knife still hasn't shown up. Then, this kid who's obviously a damn kid tries passing off this phony ID on me. Turns out the kid's name is Brian Morris, and he's pretty pissed at my part in convincing his dad. I don't really feel bad. His dad. I don't feel bad about it. I just did my part, spoke the truth. I did have a reason to feel bad, though, because that's when I now knew more about the truth and had done pretty much jack shit with it. And as I let him boast my steam by ranting at me and sent him on his way, he swings by a few more times, never for any real point. Our relationship gets marginally better. We play a game of darts at some point, then I stop seeing him for a while. One night, I'm closing up shop and hear a noise. I might have been on the force for a while. My instincts weren't totally... I might have been off the force for a while, but my instincts weren't totally shot. I wasn't gonna let some kid ambush me, so I turned around just in time to look Brian in the face to cause him to hesitate from shooting the taser. It was unclear what exactly he intended to do, but I knew that expression well. As a man about to do something very reckless and stupid. I tried to strike up some sort of rap art, but he was different. At one point, he mentioned how me and my friend Ollie would pay for strangling the justice system, so he clearly knew more than he did when he previously met. It's unclear how much more, but he knew more. Still, I tried to get a straight answer, and he continued to act weird. He talked about how it was his right after everything that happened. He was saying more than himself than me. At this point, I knew something wasn't right. The kid was in over his head. On a hunch, I asked him if somebody had given this idea of whatever. If someone was helping him. In response, he shot me with a taser. Before passing out, I got a look. I knew the answer. The hell? So, Dog, what are you saying? I believe he's implying that the Jade Emperor was not actually Brian alone. Well, I didn't think that yet. It was only how he reacted when I pressed him about the encounter when he was explaining the rules. I felt something was off. He spoke as if he hadn't even remembered the incident. Hold on a second. Are you saying that voice wasn't Brian? I thought the guy on the screen was Brian. The person on the screen was most certainly Brian. I recognized that too anywhere. Although, considering the getup he was in, I'm not saying oh, that's right. Since the mask even covered his face, it could just have been his already dead corpse. I'm not saying I have all the answers, didn't then, don't now, but it's definitely suspicious something's not right. And something wasn't right with the people who were there. Those 2 standout cases were Mouse and Dragon. You 2, right? There wasn't a good reason for either of you to be there, so I was on the lookout. Then at the end, when I saw Dragon Snake, I had a feeling I was on the first move. That was the first move. So impulsive, that one. I already apologized. How long are you gonna be on this? It's just still surprising you'd believe such a blatant lie. I mean, someone like me, funding a gang like the Scorpions. The Jade Emperor must have been transmitting hypnotic powers to speakers. Screw you! Well, my point stands, the person behind this clearly manipulated Dragon into getting to a fight alone Snake. First things first, I got Bunny to gather everyone in one spot where people would see each other. Why'd you do that again? Not important right now. Next, I ran after you and interrupted the fight. I didn't have time to let things run their course, so I used the taser I found earlier to put you both to sleep. We already know this part. I'm being thorough. And stop yelling, I'm standing right here. Anyways, luckily the two of you were already put your action, so I just dragged you to the nearby exit side in preparation. When the game ended, the neck braces all came off, and I did the honor of taking them off you. Then when I returned, I realized that Mouse, the other person of interest, was gone. I chased after you and was able to catch you just before you walked headfirst into that trap. Again, I thank you for that. Anyways, at that point, I was putting two and two together. Dragon, Mouse, and possibly Snake were being targeted. You were brought here to die. For that reason, alongside a couple other things, I brought you this little safe house. To keep us safe, right? Yep. And you're so certain this co-conspirators of yours exist? Oh, I'm not certain, but I'll say this. Mouse, after I knocked you out, I knocked on the door of Ryan's base, and I didn't get a response, huh? Maybe he was playing coy, or maybe the explosion wasn't the thing that killed him. Dog's words hung heavy in the air. If what he was suggesting was true, I already knew this part of this story, but when he laid it all out like that, I couldn't help but feel we're part of something much larger. I must say, though, it seems as though whoever's behind this nefarious plot went through an awful lot of trouble to eliminate the three of us, even if they blundered at the very end. What purpose would they be so incensed to kill us? I have to imagine it's related to the murder of Amadeus Bowen. I mean, I don't know why exactly, but there seems to be the only real connection between the three of us, right? Yeah, seems to be. I'm less concerned as to why they were trying to kill you or three. It's more about the murders you don't commit. Seems the only real connection. That seems to be the only connection. I mean, I don't know why. Yeah, it seems to be. I'm less concerned as to why they were trying to kill you three. It's more about the murders you don't commit. Like Jazz or Mahjong, but for that matter, I digress. Anyways, why not just execute a whole lot of us? Seems like the way they went about it's rather inefficient. I thought carefully. I knew the case very well, at least in the abstract. After all, my dad obsessed a lot over it. He genuinely believed Aaron Morse was innocent. I never thought he was right with all the evidence, but with everything Dog said, I began to reconsider. Was there something more we'd missed? Well, as long as Aaron Morse is the only person who could have stolen the Master Card, I suppose it's pointless to worry about such things. I wonder, is that really the case? You were wondering that. Weren't you the one who gave the testimony to that effect? I did. Like I said, Amadeus dropped his wall on the floor at some point, and the two of them left, and Aaron came back. Aaron could have taken the Master Card then. However, at one point, before he dropped his wallet, Amadeus went to the bathroom. He was pretty sloshed at the time. Perhaps someone swiped it then. Really, wasn't this a bigger deal? Well, he still had his wallet on him when he left the bathroom. The prosecutor argued that it's possible that in his inebriated state, Amadeus might have stolen it. However, it was reasonable to think that a pickpocket would have taken the wallet, looked through it, taken the MasterCard specifically, and then put the wallet back in Amadeus' pocket without him noticing. Especially considering he just took the urinal. When he put it that way, it does seem difficult. As you know, after going to the bar, Aaron took Amadeus back to the workplace and Amadeus slept in his personal office. Security tapes may have been messed with, but that only extends the actual day to the day of the actual murder. Someone came in and stole from him when he was actually sleeping. Right. So I don't know much about it, but it seems like Aaron definitely killed Amadeus. And honestly, good for him. Dragon, she does have a point. What? As detestable as violence is as a rule, there are situations where they may be morally permissible, depending on the extent of Amadeus' crimes Aaron was aware of, specifically if he knew how compromised the police state was. It's reasonable to conclude the murder was the only affordable option. I do not wish to condone murder, however. I find it hard to imagine the punishment matched the crime, as it were. Snake was right. What Dog had told me, Amadeus was a monster who did need to be taken out. Could have sympathy toward the person who killed him. However, someone that atrocious surely attracted powerful enemies. If you viewed the case not as a disgruntled employee lashing out at an abusing boss, but an assassination of a person who was tantamount to a crime boss, there's suddenly a whole new lens. Far more care, intent, and planning could be pinned on the killer, and there was certainly unresolved mysteries in that case. I think something's wrong with the case. Why, you think this Aaron dude's innocent? I don't know, I just think something's wrong. Let me just, for my own sake, I want to try laying out things on the case. Is that okay? Shoot! It's not as if we have much better to do. Okay, so it's important to know the geography of the crime scene. The majority of these actions took place on the second floor. Walking in up from the upstairs is generally an accessible bathroom directly to the left. Further to the left is one waiting room, one across the door to Amadeus' private office. Against the wall is the secretary's desk, where she worked. Right. Also along the back roll, there's a door to a different waiting room to the right, and a storage closet to the left. If I'm remembering the scene correctly, all the doors and windows can be seen through. That's how I was able to watch everything unfold, after all. It also might be relevant to note that both the guest rooms and the storage closet all had windows. Well, since the windows were all found locked from the inside, it's probably not relevant, but I think it's worth mentioning. The windows actually had little architectural slabs which could in theory be stood on. Wait, you're saying you could walk between those windows? I'm saying it would be very risky, but possible to move between the windows. However, the slab outside the storage closet broken off a while ago. If the window was open, it might be possible to move from one slab up into the slab to inside the storage closet by leaning against the wall. However, unless you're incredibly athletic, like Tiger or Horse level, it'd be impossible to jump out of the storage closet to another slab. However, unless you're incredibly athletic. Since it fell off, it'd also probably be impossible to move from one slab outside the window of one waiting room area to the other, again unless you're athletic like Tiger or Horse. That's a lot of detail for something to claim isn't as relevant to the case. My father pursued this line of reasoning a lot when looking defensive. He thought it could be relevant. However, he wasn't able to ever work on the case, so it became an irrelevant detail. Okay, so layout. The day started with Bowen meeting the contractor who was doing the construction work right outside the building. Think about it, was probably Horse. Bowen's secretary, who I guess was Sheep, arrived at some point in the morning as well, eager to see Horse leave Bowen's office and go down the stairs. Early enough to see Horse leave Bowen's office and go down the stairs. The athlete, I guess could be Tiger, arrived at the scene. Bowen had a policy of only meeting with people when he felt good and ready, so the secretary directed the athlete to the waiting room on the right. The next person would arrive with the artist. That's you, Snake, correct? Correct. I was commissioned to make a sculpture of Mr. Bowen. It was a hollow metal statue of a giant wallowing in despair, made from the remains of my past failed sculptures. I quite like that piece. So if I remember right, you were carrying the statue with you at the time. Yes, the thing was bigger than me, so moving was a real pain in the ass. And you were told you could drop the statue, you were directed to the leftmost waiting room. Indeed, she proceeded to take my statue, almost dropped it, and then move in the storage room. Most people would start looking on their phones or reading a magazine when directed to wait, but according to you, you did no such thing. Indeed, I was deep in my thoughts that day. When I get in that state, it can be almost trance-like. If I'm like that, I can be very simple-minded, forgetting the most basic things, so all my thoughts, I blankly stare out the window. Hope don't get me wrong, just because I wasn't paying attention doesn't mean I would miss something. Sure. Anyways, an actor came in the building. Let me guess, Rooster? Presumably. He was shown to the rightmost waiting room. A bit of time passed until the actor's stomach starts acting up. He exited the rightmost waiting room and made for the bathroom. Correct, I saw them exit myself. A bit after that, the secretary went downstairs the first floor. I had breakfast in the break room. Oh, right. So, Rooster said he wanted revenge on as many people as he could get. But then, why would he go after Mouse? Because even if we assume... And he also wasn't after Snake in that timeline where he made the ritual. He went after Bunny, Horse, Dragon, and Ox. A bit after that, the secretary went downstairs the first floor to have breakfast in the break room. Around this point was the earliest autopsy estimated Bowen could have been killed. That's not when he's killed, right? No, I saw the secretary leave, and also had a direct line of view to the Amadeus' office. After finally dealing with the stomach problems, the actor left the restroom and returned to the rightmost break room. Then the secretary returned from breakfast and sat down at her desk. This is all lined up with what you saw, Snake? Indeed. A bit more time passed. This is when Aaron Morris finally comes from the stairs and enters Amadeus' office. Amadeus texts him to meet in that office, that he had something important to tell him. Importantly, Aaron was also wearing a big overcoat whilst carrying a suitcase. Unlike everyone else present, he had a means of concealing what would be the fatal weapon, as well as the stacks of cash later found missing from Aaron's safe. This is where Aaron's story starts getting nonsensical. He claimed Amadeus remotely fired him, saying they didn't want to be in the same room as Aaron in case Aaron got violent. According to Aaron, when we walked in the room, Aaron's laptop started to play a message for him that told him to pack his stuff and leave. Furious, Aaron stormed out and left. This was Aaron's real mistake. He underestimated how thoroughly cyber analysts can vet this stuff. No such audio or video or audio files found on laptop. No files have been deleted from laptop for a while. Bluetooth speakers on laptop are connected, which played the message which hadn't connected to any other device other than the laptop. Basically, there's no trace of the message Aaron talks about anywhere, and that's not nothing. Also, it's such a weird lie. I mean, leaving up a message in your office up to fire someone? Who's ever heard of bullshit like that? Doesn't make any sense. Maybe that was the point, huh? Forget it. Anyways, the important here is he claims Amadeus wasn't in the room at any point. At least not in the room way Aaron could see. Say, when was the last time a reliable source saw Amadeus alive? Would that be Horse? I think Sheep might have talked to him or something. I don't remember the details in that part, but I'll have to learn more about that. Anyways, at this point, when Aaron drove off back to his home, the construction worker Horse saw him leaving. He and some co-workers had been working in the area after all. There's some amounts of cash bearing Amadeus' fingerprints would later be found in that car's glove compartment. Next, Amadeus texted Snake asking to bring the statue to the office. It was certainly odd. I planned on talking to the man about the piece myself. However, I knew Amadeus liked to do things his way. I complied and went to the storage compartment. I noticed the Sheep had been kind enough to put the statue atop a piece of cardboard and leave it on a dolly. Wheeling it made it much easier to transport the statue, although not as easy as I would have expected. You're saying this is how likely a fake text? That's the going theory. Then hold on, how would Morris have sent it? I mean, he left at this point, right? That's the phone was evidently in Bowen's body? Then what's the deal? It turns out Bowen had an app on his phone that says some scheduled text to be sent at a later time. Analysis on the app revealed it was used on that text. Well, that doesn't look good for Bowen's case. In any case, I dropped off the statue, dolly and all, in Bowen's office. At this point, I was a little irritated about how I was being treated, so I didn't bother arranging the piece for him. I simply left the building. So at this point, your testimony ends. Coincidentally, the autopsy estimates the latest Bowen could have been killed was about the time Snake left. Well, then perhaps I did this. Behave. Wait a second, couldn't he have totally have done it? The secretary was gone for a good bit, right? Couldn't he have entered Bowen's office at this point? Not possible, huh? Remember, Snake wasn't the only witness. Tiger was also there, sitting in a place where she could have seen through the door... through the door window. She might not have been focused at the time, but the building was set up. Bowen's office would be... office opening would be in full view of the window. She couldn't miss it. In a sense, Snake and Tiger kept each other in check. Tiger couldn't leave the room without Snake seeing her. Snake couldn't enter the office without Tiger seeing him. No one else could get to the office without both of them acting as a witness. A rather elegant maze of vision, wouldn't you say? Real pain in the ass, sounds like. Alright, so after this little time passed... Then the actor got fed up waiting, leaving the waiting room and stormed to Amadeus' office. The secretary tried to stop him, but he pushed past her. The secretary expected her shouting, knowing our boss is not a man to tolerate disrespect. However, time passed, nothing happened. Here, a secretary looked in the room to see the actor twirling Bowen's chair, and so Rooster was just poking around the victim's room for a bit. Ain't that suspicious? It is odd. It might be worth asking about. At the time, the actor claimed he was just admiring the room. The secretary kicked him out, and at that point, the actor left the building being fed up. However, at that point, the secretary got worried, not knowing where Mr. Bowen was. She tried calling his phone, but got no response. If she had really listened, she might have heard the phone going off in the safe. After a bit of time, she started to worry where her employer might be. She called 911 to a person who'd gone missing. A bit of a reaction at that point, do you think? Well, she was right to overreact. Anyways, a cop who happened to be nearby was sent to check the place. The cop was presumably Bunny. The secretary explained the situation to the cop, and in turn, the cop began to search the area. Before too long, he decided to open a rather large and conspicuous safe in Mr. Bowen's room. Inside, he found the body of one Mr. Amadeus Bowen, stuffed in his own safe. The amount of cash seemingly had been moved out of the way to make room. Because at this point, the scene was declared a crime scene. The athlete was asked to leave. Wait, so Tiger was just staying there the whole time? That tracks. Amadeus was found to have been bludgeoned to death with a statue in the office. A statue that will later be found in the river near Aaron Morse's house. He was also strangled with a wire-like instrument. Coroners actually argued whether or not this was the thing that killed him, or the blow in his head with post-mortem, or that simply knocked him out. So yeah, it's the case. Impressive memory, Mouse, especially for someone not directly involved. Yeah, you know better than I do. Like I said, my dad talked about it quite a bit. So, like, that's cool and all, but what's the point? By your own story, it's clear Brian's dad did it, right? That would be in the natural conclusion, yes. When you combine everybody's testimonies, time of death, money in the car, and the odd story about the pre-recorded message and stolen MasterCard, yeah, it definitely looks that way. I mean, that's what I thought for the longest time as well, but if there's more of the story, then I was at a loss for words. It's not like I could come up with a solution. How could I? The world had been up until the prior to this point. However, Dog clicked his tongue. You know, I think there might actually be a hole in that story. What do you mean? For the first time, Dog thought carefully of his next words. You know when I showed everybody that knife? Yeah. Well, I was reaction testing. I'm a pretty good poker player, which means I'm good at reading people. And when it was a minor, I showed off that knife. I thought I saw it tell. I wasn't sure before I was imagining things, but recounting the story with the suspect in mind. Before Dog continued, something strange happened. All of a sudden, heavy metal began to blare. It's coming from the speakers, which I hadn't paid much attention to before. I guess it was just meant to play music. I tried to ask what was happening, but answered I couldn't hear. It was blaring. Why did the speakers get this loud? Dog began to walk up the stairs, trying to see what the hell was happening. However, he wasn't the one who opened the door. It was swung open. Out came a glove handling a shotgun. No, this wasn't good. I tried to rush forward, but the chain pulled me back. Damn it, Dog, why shouldn't you be so thoroughly imprisoned when we were on the same team? It seemed as though Dog was frankly trying to convince the person of something. It seemed like a moot point. But his face was blushed with something. Something that was just horror. It was recognition. A few seconds, it was clear negotiation was on the cards. He began to turn to us. In that moment, the shotgun sent a bullet through Dog's head. No. Why, when everything else was so loud, could I hear my own scream with such clarity? Why was that I would be able to hear? Finding the shotgun, the gloved hand which had been holding retreated back. Dog on the other hand was put left to use. Out of his hand, he clasped his own mouth. The other, he stuck out 3 fingers. I knew what this meant, but he looked at me dead in the eyes when he did this, using it for me. It was unnerving. The sight of Dog staring at the blood rushing inside of his head. I don't know what point he stopped seeing me, but at that point I stopped seeing him. Just a few seconds later, the lights in the basement went out. It was pitch black. At the same time, music stopped. Very clearly held the sound of his footsteps going down the stairs. I could hear footsteps approaching, and I could hear the sound of the shotgun being pumped. Closed my eyes, trembling, shaking, and then I couldn't hear much of anything. Hello? Is this the right place? Ah, Pig, so good of you to join us. Come have a seat. Let me pour you a drink. Rooster was standing in the bar tap, acting as bartender. Been watching Noir recently? How'd you know? Just a guess. Well, it's good to see you guys. I'm surprised we're allowed to enter this place. I thought the police would keep it on surveillance. We were, but it became pretty clear soon the Dog didn't plan on returning this bar when he on the run from the state. So if no one's buying this place, how is it all unlocked? Lock's really more of a suggestion than anything. Anyways, how is everybody? Everybody we know is still alive at any rate. Don't speak like that. I'm sure Mouse, Snake, and Dragon are all still alive. Unfortunately, the odds of that drop day by day. Ox, since when do you become a pessimist? You talk like that back in high school, right? Anyway, I also didn't think Dog planned on killing those 3 when he kidnapped them, but the practicalities of keeping 3 grown adults as hostages for weeks is difficult. If they don't show up soon... Oh, maybe this is the matter Dog wishes to speak with us about. I imagine he didn't call us for no good reason. Yeah, about that. Are we sure this is a good idea, meeting him? I mean, should we have, I don't know, brought the cops or something? Hey, we did bring a cop. Bunny's here, after all. Yeah, it got me there. Well, basically, this was strong. I was very strongly suggested not to contact backup. Strongly? Obviously, it would be ideal to contact the correct authorities. However, Dog made it clear we wouldn't be showing hide nor hair of himself if he had heard the cops poking around. He has an ex-cop, and the connections would inform him if we tried anything. At this point, I think it's best to just comply. This feels unwise. Yeah, I thought we'd negotiate with these guys. Well, Dog should be showing up soon, right? Then next we'll get some answers on the whole crazy incident. We can finally wrap things up and things for good. Oh, we'll be bringing things to an end, alright. A wave of panic shot through the room as people got flashbacks last time they heard the altered voice. However, before anything could be done, the entire room flashed bright, filled with smoke, a group in chaos. At the sounds of re-electrical locks, one by one, the sounds of bodies on the floor exploded. Lights flickered out, and already prone bodies were put to sleep, as sure as a wipe. Waking up in an unfamiliar environment after being electrocuted, bound, and gagged isn't something you feel deja vu about. However, my head spun, and just as like I did when I woke up in Brian's crazy death game. As I looked around my surroundings, similarities didn't end there. I realized there was another classroom. I realized something was strapped around my stomach under my shirt. I saw a computer with a mouse image attached to it. No. There's no way. This couldn't be happening. Not again. I began to hyperventilate. I felt like a compressor in my stomach was squeezing me to death. I felt physically ill, like vomiting. Actually, yeah, no, I was about to vomit. I heard some people describe vomiting as cathartic. Those people should be locked in prison on an island forever. It's a horrible feeling, your insides falling out of you. When it was done, I didn't feel much better, much worse. My head felt so heavy. I almost fell right into the pile of vomit. Why? What did I ever do to deserve this? Why can't I get my life back? I never did anything wrong. I was a good kid, a good life. I had friends, dreams, enemies, struggles. My life felt like a slog, but at least it was my life. Never before I'd been so desperately wanted something. I just wanted to return to normal. I didn't want to do any of this, but how productive is this? Like a switch been flipped, my body stopped shivering. That's right, me. That's a talent of yours. You can switch that fear off. Freaking out accomplished nothing. I could only move forward to the steady. Oh, so that was Mouse in the beginning. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Thought back about what happened. I didn't freak out over remembering the death of Dog. I knew my technique had worked. Still, I felt bad about it. He was a weird dude. He had kidnapped me without my consent for seemingly half-decent reasons, but he was definitely more than that. He had known a lot about the dirty secrets for a long time. He claimed to not care much for life, but the look of fear crossed his face that day. No one deserved that. In the end, he was someone who'd been murdered. He would be missed. But thinking any more about his death would be a waste. So, what was this strapped to my stomach? I lifted my shirt and took a look. It was some sort of mail device. Here we go by Preston. Probably a device that would kill me. Awesome. Was it even worth trying to get off me when I already knew the outcome of an attempt? Probably not. I decided to check the computer. Last time it was a tablet. Now it's a computer. I tried to interact with it, but powered down. It was powered down. Great. Well, there was so much could be done inside the classroom. At some point, I need to move forwards. Exiting, I found myself in the hallway. At this point, I was certain the school was separate from the one I had found myself previously imprisoned. This was clearly the first floor of the building. It was hard to tell from my current location, but it seemed like the school was a lot smaller than what I've been before. Looking on the ground, I noticed a trail of taped arrows leading me well somewhere. I guess that's where I was supposed to go. However, before I could move anywhere, I noticed a familiar face walk out into my classroom. Ox! Mouse. Relieved to see someone I knew, I rushed over and hugged him. He responded a little awkwardly, but ultimately he responded by embracing me in kind. I'm glad to finally see someone else. I'm glad you're not dead. Although I must say I have a number of questions. Yeah, that makes two of us. Seem to keep finding ourselves in thoroughly unreasonable situations, huh? Indeed. Say, why is the school empty? Is it not school day? Mouse, could you be so foolish? It's winter break. Really? I swear it hadn't been that long since the Zodiac race. It has. Maybe winter break starts earlier nowadays. Anyways, probably more important things to talk about. Indeed. I gave Ox a short version of everything that happened. As I explained it, he nodded as if he was expecting something like that to be saying. In turn, he gave me a brief recap of what happened on the outside. He also talked about how the past victims had been summoned to Dog's bar, how another mysterious voice played, and how they were all ambushed. So basically, looking at starting up again? Ox took a deep sigh. That would appear to be the case, yes. To that end, I remain entirely uncertain. The supposed mastermind of the previous incident should be dead, and yet here we are. A true mystery. At this point, I think we don't really have any choice but to roll with the punches. That's about where I am with things at this point, but hey, if we're doing a repeat, we should at least be able to go out with it again. If we're doing a repeat, well, I admire you're able to bounce back from being cast into hell so quickly. Pouting's not going to solve anything, right? My father used to say the only way out when you're in the middle forest is through. I suppose you're correct. As absurd as it is, we've not much choice but to play a proverbial game once more. Very well then, I suppose the arrows leading us to start line again would stand to reason. Resigned to our fate, we followed the arrows. It took us down a straight, winding hallway that passed by a number of classrooms. Eventually, we took a right turn, then two turns up as staircase brought us to the second floor. Moving a bit forwards from there, the arrows led to the library. In that library were 9 familiar faces. Mouse, Ox, there you two are. I was wondering where you'd join us. So we really were brought back. Were you expecting us? Damn it, this blows. Anyways, I guess it's nice you haven't died yet, Mouse. Oh, everyone's got their collars gone. What about you? It's go off and die anytime you want. Class. Okay then. This feels oddly familiar. I don't mean that as a good thing. It's almost like all that work we did to not die the first time was for nothing. Almost. So all of us were brought back, except for Dog, which makes sense. Actually, Pig looks like he was brought here, just not, Sheesh, that's messed up. What's the point of transporting a corpse? To keep things truly thematic, I suppose. I guess. In the back of the room, Rooster was leaning against the wall, furious. His understandable reaction compared to how he took things seemingly in stride. You okay there, Rooster? Okay, do I look okay to you? Damn it, things are finally going right again. This bullshit starts up. What the hell is this? Dying before was one thing, but now my star is finally starting to rise? Hey, calm down. We got through things before, remember? We can do it again. Seriously, Mouse? You told me to face reality last time, I think. Well, who's not facing reality now? We got through things last time on a fluke, a random loophole we were lucky to catch early on. Think it's gonna go smoothly that time? This time? That's... Before I could say anything, a voice played. Attention, bidders. Please be silent. A very important announcement is to begin. And who disrupts that announcement shall be punished. With that, a projector stacked on a bookshelf turned on and began to show a bizarre video on the dartboard. Last time, we were greeted with a live feed of Brian in a mask and hoodie. This time, however, we're shown an image that looks like a cat burning, hanging in hell in a very crude art style. I'm not sure if it looks like hell, honestly. It looks more like, It looks more like... yeah, it looks, It looks... What's the word I'm looking for? It looks more like, just a cat on fire at a sunset in the grass. But I guess art is interpretive. Gothic horror wouldn't be the term to describe. Snake would be better suited to describe it. Hello, dear friends. Glad to see you back together again. I'm sure you missed each other. I'm sure you missed the thrill of the race, and I'm sure you previously met with the Jade Emperor. He put you all on trial, and you passed his gauntlet to find enough. So then, are you all free to rejoin the world? I think not. I think he was too kind on my fellow sinners, and as it stands, it falls on me, the cat, to truly put you all to the test. I'm sure you're... Suddenly, Monkey spoke out. Okay, that's enough. I can't do this whole thing again. Whoever's behind this, stop hiding behind these masks. I'm sure with our discussion we can figure out... Oh, all of a sudden, Monkey winced, clutching her stomach. That's, my friends, what you call a warning. The next person to interrupt my explanation will be silenced in a much more permanent matter. Yeah, the thing she mentioned about there being a cat in the race, it makes sense. There was indeed an extra person the entire time. We all got the point. Very well then, I understand you've all been through a similar experience before. You don't need to slow things down, Will, and gritty details. You all know the device strapped around your stomach cannot be removed. You already know that it can be used to execute any of you at will. You already know that exiting the building before the game is finished will result in execution. Let's get to the juicy bits, shall we? That is to say, the rules of the game you'll be facing off in. The rules of the Zodiac bid. The screen changes the image of a wheel with the Zodiac animals wrapped around it. First things first, I want to explain how scoring will work in this game. It's a little complicated, but it's absolutely critical to understand how to play. So we'll start with this. Throughout the game, you may be able to collect animal cards. The thing about these cards, however, is their point value is dependent on who has them. Let me explain through example. Let's say Mouse collects a mouse card. To her, it's worth 3 points. Say she also collects Ox and Pig. Since this is one space away, these cards are worth 2 points. Following this pattern, Tiger, Dog, and the dog card would be worth 1. Monkey, Bunny and the monkey would be worth nothing. Dragon the rooster would be worth -1. Snake and sheep would be worth -2. And the horse would be a full -3. However, as said, the points are awarded to a card based on the distance of the Zodiac wheel to the owner. So if Ox or Pig got hands on the mouse card, it would be worth 2 points. If Horse got the hands on the mouse card, it would be worth -3. Simple, is it not? If you understand these basic rules, you can understand half the game. The game will take place over the course of 12 rounds. There are 48 cards. 4 cards of every animal. The first 2 rounds of 9 cards will be dealt on the community table. The next 3 rounds, 6 cards will be dealt. In the next 4 rounds, 3 cards will be dealt. The final round will commence without any cards being dealt. Each round will last 30 minutes. At the end of the round, the cards present on the communal table will be displayed on everybody's computer. Then for the next 33 seconds, everyone will be forced to take action. Failure to take an action results in execution. Operating a computer that doesn't correspond to your animal will result in execution. And there are 4 actions you can take. You can attempt to take any card on the communal table. If you're the only person with that card, congratulations, it's transferred to your hand. However, if multiple attempt the same, it will be ripped in the struggle and nobody receive it. If nobody attempts to take a card, it will remain on the communal table until someone attempts to take it. If you have the cards in your hand, you can choose to set a card on the communal table. If you do this, the card will appear on the communal table in further rounds as taken. Alternatively, you could just directly give the card. It will transfer the card directly from your hand to theirs. Finally, if all this card transferring business is too much for you, you can always just choose a check. In this, you'll learn how many cards a player has in their hand. That's not the only way of getting info. At the end of the even number round, the coin total will be projected in this room. You The game continues and someone amasses a hand worth 9 points. At this time, the animal with the winning hand will be the dominant animal. Then we check who the dominant animal cards in their hand. Whoever's the most will proclaim the winner. In the case of a tie, there can be multiple winners. The winner will be able to leave winners will be able to leave the building. All non will be faced execution. How exciting. That's it, basically. The rules are simple, no? Anyway, the first round we're going to show you. Oh, and there's more things I should mention. Firstly, if all 12 without somebody assembling 9, I'll just have to declare the game null and void. In that case, I'll execute everybody. Secondly, it means that if people got caught off guard by the action phase, on starting, top with that, a warning will play the school 2 minutes before the action phase begins. It'd be mean if people got caught off guard by the action phase of the round starting. Top with that, a warning will play the school 2 minutes before the action phase begins. Alright, why not ready to have some fun? Show me a game's a little less predictable, why don't ya? And just like that, the projection shut down. Well, that was something. Okay, a temperature check. I'm not saying the Zodiac race was all better or anything, but at least it had to air some sort of final judgment. This just feels like we're in a bad game show. I mean, I'm just imagining this, right? Because I feel like we're incredible with how much less authentic this feels. Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. It feels different somehow. I remain unsure if this game is more artistic or less than one we faced before. However the case may be, the truth remains altered. We'll have to face this game down head on. And I'm going to call it here. Seems we've got one last final boss to face in this game, and we'll have to do that next time. Alright, thank you, and I'll see you next time.